time I close my eyes, every time I close my eyes, every time I close my eyes.
Yes, guys, welcome back. How's everyone? Hope we're all doing good. Yeah, this is a transfer talk this afternoon. We've got some transfer talk this afternoon. Talk to you now, guys, and then tonight at 6 p.m. we're going to do the Liverpool Brighton preview. Yeah, so lots on the channel today, lots to look forward to. So make sure you're locked in all day, guys, on the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and when you hit that bell next to the subscribe button, go to all. Don't press personalised. If you press on all, then as soon as I go live, you should get an alert. But fuck knows with YouTube because they take forever to do anything. But big up to everyone in the house. Hope you're all doing well. Big up to Baz, Storm, John in the house, KZ, 6 times, John Pollock, Nay, and Phil in the house. Hope you're doing well, my man. Mohammed, John Conway, Storm Thomas, Vincent Vega, you know. And Rayan, how you doing, my friends? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing well today. Hope everyone's having a good day so far, wherever you are around the world right now. Hope you're all having a blessed day. Yeah, we're going to talk about Liverpool and transfers today. There's a lot of obviously, there's a lot of rumours and stuff going on about transfers with Liverpool this month, as there always will be. We're going to talk about what's bullshit and what's real, and yeah, see what we can talk. Cav, if you're available, Cav, and you want to come on, you're more than welcome. I don't know if you're at work or what you're doing today, but if you are available, Cav, and you want to come on for an hour, you're more and welcome, my friend. I can send you the link. Big up to yourself. So Oswald in the house as well. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Gary in the house as well. Yeah, exactly. Selling lots of rumours and no signs so far. Rihanna's out, FSG out, Ninja out, Klopp out, Henderson out, Elliot out, Oxen out. He ain't at me. Reminds me of that joke. He weren't out. We're just out. Right. Lots of transfer rumours. Obviously, we got what's on the thumbnail, Neves and Tielemans as well. It's just, there's loads to talk about, guys. Loads and loads to talk about. Obviously, the Neves one is particularly interesting because Neves, I believe, is out of contract in the summer. I believe Ruben Neves is out of contract in the summer. I can't quite remember. I've heard rumours that he's out of contract in the summer. He's got a year left. It's one of the two. So even if he's got a year left, you know, that is still a player I think Liverpool should be looking at. I think he's a decent player, to be fair. I think he's a decent player. I just Liverpool go for that sort of player. I think we should. because I don't understand this whole waiting for the right person thing. I still don't get that. I still don't get that. Be like Wolves FIA, how you doing, Jamie? Liverpool chat, never Liverpool yet, could happen, but only in the summer. Yeah, I think that's something that could happen as well. I can't wait until we get new owners. Only thing that gives me hope. We need legs. Never offers us nothing like that. Big up says Leverson. Ride shotgun. I'm sick of this club, Jamie. FSG are not interested in the sporting project anymore. You know what? Yeah, I think Nevers' contract 20 foot. Yeah, so a year and a half, let's say a year next year. So if he's got a year from next season, yeah, it might be a good time for clubs, depending on. I mean, Wolves FI might know more than I do, but about Wolves, but depending on Neves' contract situation, if he wants to sign a new deal with Wolves or not, he's going to be one of them players that'll probably be a lot of Premier League teams will probably be looking at. He's Premier League experienced. He's a good footballer. He's young. I think we forget how young he is because he came onto the scene quite young, didn't he? He's a decent player. So that might be something a lot of Premier teams will be looking at, especially with a year left on his deal. And and seeing what's going on with his deal at the moment. If he's signing a new deal, then obviously not. But if people know they're after him, it might, it might be a player Liverpool might be looking at. Should be a Liverpool player we'll be looking at. For me, at this moment in time, people like Neves with a year left on his deal, you could probably get for a good price. There's players around Europe that Liverpool can get for decent prices, in this midfield, right? But again, I will keep saying I don't understand the classification. I can't say that word. I don't get the whole has to be the right player scenario yet. This is still the thing I'm stuck on. And I keep staying stuck on it because I'm seeing players go. I've seen players go everywhere, right, for reasonable prices, yeah. I've seen players go to West Ham. I feel like, Liverpool could probably get hold of them players, Let's get Cav in here. Yeah, Cav. Is your day off?
It's not, no, and I can't stay for long. Probably just about half an hour or so. But I thought I'd drop in for a minute. How are you doing anyway? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm just talking about transfers today. So,
well, it is January.
Yeah, exactly. And Ruben Neves, Tielemans. So I was talking yesterday about. I'm stuck on the thing of the right player scenario that we keep talking about for midfield. Because yesterday I spoke about it. We've gone for players in the forward line, defensive line, the goalkeeping situation. We filled spots where they needed to be spot filled, but we never filled the midfield role. And Klopp only ever mentions about the right player for midfield. He never talks about the right player in the forward area, defensively, or anything like that. It's always the midfield area. And I'm seeing players go what is our old class FSG value, between 20 and 50 million. That sort of a transfer value. They're really good players that are surely better than a lot of the midfielders we have right now. So I don't know what the right player is. I'm so stuck on this because there's players around, I think right now could do a job for Liverpool Football Club that are probably better than what we got. Like your Nunes, like your Neves, your Tielemans, There's so many players. I don't get what the right one is. I really don't.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree because we've been stung of late with this, right one, because as we can see, there's no option, there's no option B, is there? And getting option A is proving to be quite difficult. When we was at like the very top, the best team in Europe, that kind of made sense because the team was absolute quality. Every single position had almost a world-class player, if not a world-class player in it. So you could understand why they would start to then cherry pick, who they wanted in Europe to back up that first 11 or push it to get in. Whereas now we're in a different position. We're not the best in Europe anymore. We've got to admit that, we've not got the best players in Europe anymore. Some of them because their quality has dropped off and others because they're just simply in bad form. But I don't think we can take that same approach. I think we've quite simply just got to go to the table a little bit less, so to speak, a tear down and rebuild. And that obviously works financially because look, we all want the big names out there, but we quite simply haven't got the money to go out and buy new 2, 3, 4 big players. We're going to have to accept that we're going to have to get some cheaper options. And the guys that are coming up to the end of their contract in the summer, they're going to be some savvy buys in there. And I don't see why at this moment in time, when we need midfielders, we don't just make a move for 1 or 2 of these guys and just get them for a cheaper fee. Like you mentioned a couple of names there in Neves and who was the other one? Sorry, Neves and Tielemans. Yeah, like it's easy said than done because they're still important for their clubs, and like their clubs will probably think, you know what, we'll keep hold of them for the remainder of the season and happily lose them because they're so important for the remainder of the campaign. But if Liverpool come along and put a contract down and off a guarantee on football for 4 years and on a you know, a good salary compared to what they're probably on at the minute, and they're playing in Europe, and you know they can be part of one of the biggest clubs in the world, I don't understand why that's not a big enough pull to go out and get somebody like that. But it don't seem to be the way we do things, is it? You know,
well,
and then
no,
you look,
and this is the player here, though. So obviously I know a lot of people in the chat have been talking about this Thuram guy. I'm going to say I think he plays for Nice. I'm not maybe as acknowledgeable as some of the guys in the chat, so I've not seen him play much. But apparently this geezer is worth around the 30 million mark. Nice want 30 million for him, yeah? He's a young guy, but you know, Liverpool apparently looking at him. He plays that defensive midfield role, and everyone keeps raving about him. I don't much about him, so I can't say too much, but everyone raves about this kid. Plays for Nice, and he's worth 30 million. That's what Nice want for him. And I'm like, just go and do it, right? Because if he can run, he's better than Fabinho straight away. So
that's the sad truth, isn't it? That is the sad truth, yeah.
Just go and get him. If he can run, he's better than Fabinho. Simple as that. So just go and get him.
Yeah. There might be a bit of an issue with the homegrown thing again, but look, we just got to figure these things out. There's ways around that. Maybe loan somebody out, or you know,
yeah, exactly.
Look at the players that you know. Look at Adrian and people like that. You can afford to let them just leave, I'm sure. So just you can figure it out. But I agree with you, Jay. Like I don't know much about this player, but with the way our midfield's working at the minute, it almost seems like anybody would be an improvement, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And Nice apparently 30 million. So Nice would be willing to sell the midfielder for around 30 million, when Liverpool have already held talks with a 21-year-old about a switch to Anfield. Apparently, we hold talks with everyone, man. We must have the greatest meetings ever. Just coffee and talks. It's like, you know, like churches have coffee afternoons in a church where all the old people come in for a chat and all that and have a cup of coffee. That's Liverpool. We just let everyone in here come in for a cup of coffee and a chat about a player. And nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. Man.
Oh, yeah, it's true. It's a little bit frustrating. I know, look, we're almost 2 weeks into January now and we've not got a midfielder through the door. And you're a bit like, I understand, you know, it might be difficult in this market to get people, but you've got to do something. You've got to act. I think everybody who follows Liverpool or supports Liverpool, they know that we need a midfielder. I don't understand why we're still, you know, we're almost halfway through January and we've not got anybody in the door yet. Like, are you telling me that there's not? They say that Liverpool have this list, you know, of players that they'd like to bring in. Apparently, there's 2 lists now. One for if we make Champions League, one for if you don't. But how is there nobody on that list that can't come in, that Liverpool feel can't come in and help this squad right now and is gettable? I find that really hard to believe. So it's a bit like, if we leave this, we could get someone in last minute at the end of January, but by which point we could be miles off the top 4. Do you know
Exactly.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit frustrating.
And Amrabat right now is apparently going to Atletico Madrid. So there's another one gone. So Amrabat's apparently going to Atletico Madrid. So that's another one gone. I mean, so who are we looking at? This is still the thing I don't understand. Who the hell are we looking at? Who? Why does this club not think there's a player out there that's better than Hendo, better than Milner, better than Ox, better than Abbey, and can run unlike Fabinho right now? Who are they looking at and thinking, I'm not sure? I'm not sure. Like, what are they like? If that's the case, they're not sure. Then I don't know what. Either Milner and Henderson and these players are like Maradona in training, and we just don't see it, or they are just being naive to the fact that they can't let go of the players that have been at this club for a long time because of sentimental reasons.
Yeah.
And like Enns said it last night, big up Enns, man. He said it last night. We all say that Klopp's too sentimental, right? But are us fans the same thing towards Klopp? Are we too sentimental and don't want him to, and don't want the ruthless streak? Because I'll put this to everyone. Me and Enns were talking about this actually after the show finished last night, so no one heard this yet. So I'll let everyone know now, right? We're talking right now, yeah, last night about this, about ownership, right? Everyone wants FSG to sell, right? I'll do it at this point as well because it just needs refreshing, right? But everyone loves Klopp, right? Everyone wants Klopp to stay, Klopp to stay. What if a new owner comes in and goes, you know what, Jurgen? I know, like, we want these players in. I want these players. And I don't really care if you don't want them players because I want to win things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to win things. I'm not here to come second behind Man City by 1 point every year. I want to win things. And I know you don't want these players because of personalities. You don't really like them, but I want them because they're winners, yeah? Right?
Yeah.
And we start, and we don't win things with these players, and they sack Jurgen, right? And then they get another manager in, and it's like, he's there for a year or two. It's not really working. They let him go again. Will the fan base then be like, oh, hang on. We didn't want it like this. Will you then get a change in the fan base where you're like, right, we wanted new owners, but we wanted to keep what we're doing to one side. We didn't want a new manager every 2 years because we don't want to be like Chelsea under Roman Abramovich sort of thing. And then you go back full circle again going, oh, I wish we just had it the old way. Because I can see that happening. Not with everybody, but I can see that being a tale what happens to this football club eventually.
Yeah. There's enough evidence in the league right now to prove that doesn't work, you know. Look at United, and they're doing well now with Ten Hag, but for a long time they were just chopping and changing managers and signing big name players, and they were getting worse, if not better. You know, Ten Hag's come in and he's got, you know, big players in Varane and Casemiro, but the others, you know, the left back that they've got, you know, what's his name, Malacia, is it? And then they've got Martinez and stuff. These aren't players that, you know, that you think of as the best in the world, but they're more shrewd signings. They fit a system that he wants to play, and they're getting success out of that now. You know, Chelsea is still, you know, going out and buying just the most popular players on the market at the minute, and it remains to be seen how successful that is. You know, you could even argue that Spurs, to an extent, you know, they had a summer of loads of acquisitions. How many of them were sort of Conte buys? You know, the guy at right back, he definitely doesn't look like a Conte buy. So there's evidence that it happens, you know, where the director of football and the owner signs the players and they're not the manager's choice. And as we're seeing, it doesn't quite work. You need that to marry up in what they both want. But I think what we all want is an owner that's willing to give Klopp the money and allow him to spend it. I think what we don't want is an owner to have money and start buying players himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not going to know until they come in the door, to be honest. You know, you're not going to know that. But if it is the latter and the owner comes in and he starts having an idea as to what players he wants and he starts signing them and going kind of above Klopp in that, I don't think Klopp would be here for too much longer, to be honest, if that was the case. That's not how he would want to work. And he just, I don't think he would accept that, just having to be given a squad and, you know, make do with what you got kind of thing. Try to figure it out with the players you've been given. That's not Klopp's style. Klopp wants specific people, specific personalities, and to get the right bodies in, usually a smaller group of players, to then go on and, you know, put together a team. So I think if you got an owner like that, you'd probably see the back of Klopp. And then, like you say, would we end up like Chelsea? I mean, thing is, for Chelsea, they're a unique one because although they've done that, they've also been very successful. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've actually got trophies.
Yeah,
you know, I think over the past decade, they're the most successful team in England or something like that, aren't they?
What is it, the 2010s or 2000s or something like that? They're the most successful club, ain't they? Yeah, I mean,
but then
it is like I just worry about all this You know, I want new owners, but
Mm.
I don't want, as you say, an owner to come in and buy his players and not the manager's players. A bit like Bowley's doing at the moment with Chelsea. I don't actually want that.
Yeah.
That's something I don't actually want. That'd be mad.
But then,
big up
Luke,
Jay, probably. This is breaking news, by the way. Jamie, I'm currently on the Woolwich Ferry, and I've just got myself a Morley for the first time. Go see what the big fuss is about. If you don't like them all, it is the bet. It kicks KFC's arse. Let's just put it that way. It kicks KFC's arse. I don't know what's going on my internet right now, but there you go.
You're a bit fuzzy. Yeah.
Go on.
But I'll ask you this though, Jamie. I mean, do we have evidence, right? Let's say we get the scenario that we want. We get new owners, and they give Klopp more money to spend on transfers. What evidence do we have that Klopp can spend that money wisely?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Because we've seen that he can be, along with the scouting team, shrewd in the market and get players that you don't quite expect to reach the heights that they have, and he improves them and he gets them to a real world-class level. We've not really got too much evidence of him signing, ready-made stars and fitting them into the group and still improving them and this and that. So that's still an unknown quantity as to whether that would work. Now, I believe it is because I think he's a world-class manager, but you go on the evidence that's there. There isn't really any, is there?
No, exactly. And this is a good point as well. Big up to Eunice as well. I hope you're doing well. The homegrown situation, potentially losing 4 homegrown players this summer. I mean, that is going to be an issue as well. I mean, you're going to have to replace that. Cav, you just take that a minute. I'm just going to sort my Wi-Fi out one quick.
Yeah. So I think in the minute Liverpool this season.
1 second.
Yeah, I'll do it, mate. You go sort your stuff out. I think at the minute we've registered. Well, in the Premier League, you can register a 25-man squad, and 8 of them players have to be homegrown, which means they're trained from an English club for 3 years below the age of 21, something like that. Liverpool don't have 8 homegrown players, so they registered 7, and they took a 23-man squad. So what I've been seeing online recently is people thinking there is a spare spot because they see that there's 7 and the rules state you can have 8, but that only works if you up it to a 25-man squad, which Liverpool don't want to do. So we do have a bit of an issue come the summer because we have the likes of Milner, whose contract ends in the summer. We have Nat Phillips, who I believe his contract ends in the summer. I'm not too sure, but he'll probably want to move anyway to get football. You've got Gomez, who might want to move to get football. You've got Kelleher, the same. So you've got people who currently qualify in this squad as homegrown that potentially might not be here next season. And like you say, there was a suggestion there that there's 4 players. That's probably about right. You could potentially lose 4 homegrown players in the summer, which you would have to replace. That won't be a choice. You've got to replace them with homegrown players. And that's homegrown. That's not under 21. So the likes of Elliott and Bobby Clark and I think Tyler Morton and stuff, these guys won't qualify as homegrown. They'll qualify as under 21. So we have to address that always round. And that makes life a bit difficult because if we want to sign quality, guys that fit the system for the right price that are also homegrown, there's not too many of them on the market unless you're willing to spend big. So this could be a really tricky summer. A bit like ones we've known before, to be honest, because we've got this added element to concentrate on.
Yeah, this is a lot of people have been talking about this homegrown factor for a while now. I saw an article recently as well. Big up, Baz. I saw an article earlier as well about it. I think it was yesterday talking about the homegrown factor because we are going to be losing a lot this summer, homegrown ones, but we have got a lot of players. It will be counted as homegrown by the time we get to the 24-25 season.
Yeah, by then we'll be okay. Yeah.
So So by then we'll be fine with all the homegrown we got, all the youth players we got right now. That will count as homegrown because I think Stefan Bagatich actually counts as homegrown because he's a youth player in our system for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we come 24-25, I think most of the youth players we have right now will all be counted as homegrown. So if Liverpool going to be looking at that, how serious are they going to be in the transfer market for homegrown players and what homegrown players can you buy. I mean, there's a lot of players actually playing abroad right now that would actually count as homegrown because, you know, they grew up in, you know, English academies and got sold on. And I think there's a player at PSV right now that people are looking at. I think he's like 21, 22, 23. And he was a youth player in one of the, I can't remember what English team it was now. I think it might be Southampton or something like that. But he plays for PSV, and people are looking at him right now because he's a decent footballer, and I think he's a winger. He's a decent footballer, but getting him would also count as a homegrown player as well at the same time. So there is a lot of that. How you doing, Baz?
Yeah, big up, man. Big up. I've been listening in the background. Big up, Cav. Yeah, it's a techie one still.
It is, man. It is all this homegrown stuff because we want players in, obviously. Big up, honestly. Thank you very much. Yeah, he had a great day, my man. He had a great day. He's still feeling it now, to be honest. He's still feeling it now. I don't know where they get the energy from, man. But yeah, this homegrown stuff, I think, is going to affect what sort of business we do. Mm-hmm. I think it is going to affect what sort of business we do this January and summer. Now, there's rumours that Paul Joyce has said we're going to do no more business this January. I think it's like, I think he worded it sort of in a way that business still can be done. It's all about it's this right player shit, and it does my head in, right? Mm-hmm. No business will be done unless the right player is available. But as me and Cav said just a minute ago, like anyone who can run right now is better than what we got. So I don't get Baz. I still don't understand this right player, especially in midfield. Because has he ever spoke about right player anywhere else on the pitch before?
No.
It's just in midfield, ain't it?
Yeah. I mean, like you could say, you know, I mean, do you remember
big up Bruno, the legend that is Bruno in the house? Big up, Bruno.
Big up, man. What book is that, bro? Yeah. Look, you know, we were linked with Amrabat a little while before, and Jurgen apparently, or if it's not Jurgen, I think Liverpool or someone close to the club had said we've been tracking him for a long time. So to me, that's supposed to be the right player. Yeah, it's gone quiet. It's gone absolutely silent. And this is the thing. And we got to look at what Jurgen is doing now. Is he trying to like play a different way? You know, where we were successful when we had those Brexit or hard-working midfielders, yeah? Is that the kind of player he's looking for now? Because if that is the case, and you see those two you mentioned, like Tielemans and Neves, they're not that industrial kind of player, and I don't think they're Jurgen Klopp kind. And when you look at Tielemans, he's a brilliant player, but the problem with him is very inconsistent. Very inconsistent. So I'm not sure what he's looking for.
You are right, though. Like Cav, like Baz says there, if we are scouting all these players and we're looking at these players, aren't they the right players then?
Well, I think what we've got to do is be really honest about this. Liverpool of late, past few years, to be fair, who they go for is always a real surprise. It's always somebody different who we're linked with. You know, Liverpool are really the experts in moving in silence, you know. So when these rumours come out to say, oh, Klopp's met with the player, or personal terms have been agreed, or there's strong interest, or the player's number one choice is Liverpool, and this and that, you always have to take it with a bit of pinch of salt, because how many players have we actually signed where those rumours have been true? It's not. I mean, just look, Gakpo is the most recent one, and look at that, you know, just out of the blue, really. You know, there was a few rumours at the start of the before the World Cup, but it didn't hang around for long, and there wasn't like strong reporters reporting it, so to speak. So you have to then just accept that these are probably just rumours, and it's probably just media trying to get clicks and this and that. And we all know that Liverpool, you know, tie a name to Liverpool, and it's going to get so many clicks and sell so many, you know, new articles and things like this. But then then it makes you think, okay, if Liverpool do move in silence, they must have their own transfer targets in the background, and they'll be working on them. And you know, they'll just announce them when they're ready to do the medical or agreed a fee and this and that. But then I go back to my point. If that's the case, and you have that faith in the club, why haven't we still got a midfielder in? Do you know what I mean? It's 2 weeks into January. What are you doing then? You know,
it's not that hard, is it, Cav?
Well, I find it difficult to think that there's not one player out there that can come in and help this squad. You know, even if they're not and I mean, who knows what his system's going to be moving forward, right? But even if the player doesn't quite fit the profile, which I find hard to believe as well, but even if they're not ideal, you're telling me that someone can't come in and help the squad at least for the remainder of the season, you know? And then even if you keep them next year and they don't, everyone's back and we've signed a couple of players in the summer and that player doesn't then work out, that we can't, you know, move them on, you know, maybe this time next year or the following summer. I know that Liverpool want to sign players and hold on to them for years to come, but sometimes you just have to act for the here and now. And I feel like this is a season with all the injuries and the fact that we're outside the top four now, and we can all see it's going to be a real struggle to get top four. There's never going to be another period like this where you do need to act like that. You know, the only other time I could think of was the COVID season with the centre backs. And look, it took a bit of magic to get us top four in that season. Can we really rely on getting that same bit of magic again this season? Just seems a bit too risky for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and look, with the players we're looking at, like Tielemans, Ruben Neves, I'm sure we are looking at all these players. And as people have said, they're not really runners, yeah? So when we are being linked with all these players and said we've been keeping eyes on them, are we changing the way we want to play then? Is that what we're doing? Are we changing the way we want to play? Are we going to go different now? So are we looking at players like Neves and that to change the way we play? We want to be more... maybe a more techie sort of midfield instead of aggression and pace. Maybe we want to be a bit more of a techie team.
In his previous, you know, clubs and stuff like that. Because when I look at him, he just seems to be the one that just wants hard runners. You know, hard runners as opposed to, like, you know, when you look at Arthur Melo, all right. Now I don't know if that was a Jurgen Klopp, you know, thing. It was. I know it was for me, it was like a panic. But he's, you know, when you look at him, he's a ball. He retains the ball really well.
Yeah.
He's looking for that kind of a player. And I just find it hard to believe there's no one out there, even if it's not a brand name, yeah, to be out there, right, that you can potentially sign for around the 20-odd million pound mark or the 30 million pound mark. You know what I mean? When you look at people like Paqueta and stuff like that, we were linked with him, and obviously West Ham had got him. Again, like you said earlier on, that's an FSG kind of signing. Why have we not moved for players like that? You know, there is these, you know, potential, like, is there something going on? Is there no money? Is there, you know, is there money? Like Cav earlier on said that, you know, I know it's probably, you didn't mean it in this way, but FSG do have money. They just choose not to spend it. They are super rich. They just don't spend it because they are not that kind of owners. They are literally business owners. And come on, there must be someone somewhere, you know what I mean, in midfield somewhere in the world, all right, that we can get in for, like, you know, like you said, just to cover us to the, you know, till the end of the season at the very least, even if it's a loan deal. You know, beggars can't be choosers. Look at, you know, look at Chelsea. They've just bought in Felix, all right, on loan. He signed a contract, you know, an extension at Atletico Madrid, but he's there and he's going to do a job for them, whether he's successful or not. You know, we can do that. We can borrow players if we have to be, and then, you know, come summer now, there's new potential owners, or if there's whatever, we can deal with that then. But right now, we need some players. It's as simple as that. And I'm fed up of hearing the right type of player. Bring someone in.
Yeah, I agree. I've just got Dortmund. So this is you were just talking about how Klopp played at Dortmund.
Was it Gundogan and Bender?
That was Borussia Dortmund's midfield. Gundogan, Bentner, Royce, or Götze. And he played a 4-2-3-1. That was his choice at Borussia Dortmund. That's what he played. That's the team he played with.
When he went to 4-3-3 as well, Blaszczykowski played more of a midfielder as well. Yeah.
So they were more techie. They're not industrious midfielders. They're quite techie. They can get around the pitch as well. But yeah, you look at that team for Borussia Dortmund. That Jurgen Klopp Borussia Dortmund team was ridiculously good. And yeah, look at Gundogan, Bentner, Royce, Götze. It was Schmelzer on the wings as well. Yeah, Blaszczykowski. You know, they had some good players there, Borussia Dortmund. So
the thing is, they're not even household names as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they're all techie players. I don't get where this Klopp of 4-3-3 with these industrious midfielders started with. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if they were just, it's something, yeah, Kagawa as well, don't forget, yeah, them players as well.
Yeah, Shingo Kagawa, yeah.
Nuri Sarin as well. Nuri Sarin, who was a ball-playing midfielder. He got about the pitch. He was a ball-playing midfielder. He had techie midfielders, man. He had midfielders that could break who could win the ball back quickly. But when they won the ball back, they weren't just runners. They were techie. You know, they could pass well. They controlled games of football. They were possession-based in midfield. And then I don't know if he just came to Liverpool and fell into something. Sometimes when managers fall into something, they stay with it because it works. So I don't know if it's just that he fell into something, because we never played the attacking fullbacks before. We never really played attacking fullbacks, even when Moreno and Klein were our fullbacks. They weren't doing what Robbo and Trent do now. You know, and I don't know if he just fell into something because Trent fell into his lap and he's like, this kid is ridiculously good. I've got to get him in a position on the pitch where I can unleash what he can do on the ball. Robbo is an absolute engine at left back, and he can do what Trent also does on the ball, but can go up and down all day. And then you got the midfield area where he had your Wijnaldums, your Milners, your Hendos, your Nabbies, and Fabinho's and Gini, and he just had these players and it worked, and he fell into it, and it's like he's never gone away from that now. But you go back to his Dortmund days, you're like, yeah, techie players, man. So does he want to go back to that now? Because if you look at the way we were playing last season we played mostly possession-based football, didn't we? You know, it was a lot of like short passes, keeping the ball, keeping retention of the ball, not losing it, right? And some people found it quite boring. It weren't the exciting way we used to play. So maybe Klopp and his team actually want to go back to that techie side of the game and change it up a bit. But the problem is, what I'm seeing at the moment, we're playing different this season than we did last season. This season, we've gone back to the high line and the high press again. But none of the midfielders and forward line can press. So it's so confusing at the moment. So when we're looking at players, I'm not sure what we're doing in the transfer market. None of it makes sense, guys.
This is it, because the two players that you mentioned are decent players on it by their own accord. You know what I mean? Neves is a player that I have in my FIFA team sometimes. You know what I mean? You know, he's a great player, but you don't know what he wants, what he's trying to do. Is he trying to change the way of play now, where we're a bit too predictable when he knows that with the fullbacks in? Does he want to keep them a little bit more back now and have maybe a creator in midfield? We don't know, and this is why anyone, it's anyone's guess is as good as anyone's, to be fair, because you just simply don't know what he wants. Just don't know.
I think it's difficult to know as well at the minute because we're not playing well. We've not played well all season, so there's no real pattern in our play to go, yeah, that we're still going to progress with that, because nothing's really been that successful. And you think of a midfielder and you're like, okay, is the priority to get more industrious midfielders, guys that have got really good engines on them, and can put in a challenge and get across and cover and read the game well? Or is it these techie players? And you're like, well, I don't know, because it's hard to see what the system actually is now, because the players aren't playing very well. So if the players were playing well, and it was just, you felt like, oh, we're coming up against a low block and we can't quite get through. You're like, okay, let's tweak the system to get like an extra creator in midfield. That might change it. Or maybe maybe put two up top or something like that. You could see that there's little tweaks to be made, but these aren't tweaks anymore. These are like wholesale changes we need to make to this squad and system. So it's like, I think who knows what he wants to go with. I genuinely don't know at this point in time, whether it's get industrious midfielders to cover the fullbacks and do a lot of the high pressing and most of the work across the pitch to facilitate fullbacks bombing on and let the forwards kind of stay forward. And so when the ball gets to them, they're in space to go and create and score. Or is it that we kind of retrieve a little bit and have more technical players that, are more possession based, and we kind of have a slower build up, but more control in the game? I genuinely don't know, because I've not seen enough this season or enough patterns in how we're setting up to try and work out what it is he's trying to do anymore.
To be fair, I mean, what Jamie just said there, right? I mean, what we've been playing this, so far this season with the high line, and, the high line for me indicates pressing, from there. from the midfield and from the forwards and stuff like that. And what I believe, right, I think he still wants that pressing thing. I think he wants that pressing, and that for me indicates, well, what you need is like your Wijnaldums, you know, your the midfielders that we had previously, the hard-working ones, not so techie. Maybe you can bring a player in for, you know, for a system change, you know what I mean, like a Nunes, for example. He plays ball, whereas maybe he needs right now, what he wants is those genie kind of players, you know what I mean, those players that can retain possession, that don't get injured often, that can, you know, that can just keep it there with strong engines. And I think that's what he wants. But even that, I mean, if he is going to do that, surely there is someone between now and the end of January, even if it's a lone player. You know, look at Zakaria. I know Zakaria wanted to go to London and he turned us down and stuff like that. Yeah, there are players out there that, you know, with bigger teams that are not necessarily playing at this moment. How about a Rabiot? You know what I mean? Something like that. You know, there are possibilities out there on loans. And, you know, if they don't want to spend huge now, I get that. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, if we're going to do something in the summer, I think a lot of people are prepared to write off this season and think, okay, fine, just get something in. Let's finish as high as possible. Yeah. Come summer and that, if you do get your Bellinghams or God knows whatever you're talking about, like marquee signings or potential, bring something in on loan now. You know what I mean? At least a loan signing. You know, there's no shame in it.
But the thing is, though, what we've been good at for so long, and I do know that Michael Edwards has moved on, and the chap that was head of sort of analytics and stuff, was Ian Graham is his name. He's looking to move on. And then you got Julian Ward who's leaving. And I get all that. There's been a shift around in the recruitment department. But what we've been good at is getting these type of players, you know. Let's call them what they are, cheap players, and making them into really good, you know, really good players, if not, you know, world class at a point in time, let's say. You know, Wijnaldum was an example of that. If that's what we were good at, and we have a reluctance to spend big on, you know, in transfer fees and things like that, how come we're not doing either at the minute? You know, I'm with you, Baz. I get it. Like, we all want Jude, we all want Caicedo, right? They're big money, fine. If you can't afford that right now because you have a plan for the summer, I accept that. But what I don't get is why you're still not able to sign somebody for a 20 million, 25 million, because that's what they've been good at for so long. Like, what happened to this so-called list that they've done and all the scouting they've been doing? That telling me there's not one player out there at 20 to 25 million that comes in and helps right now. I find it very hard to believe, because that's what their whole model is. Their whole model has been to get players at that kind of fee that they're about to peak, or we think we can, you know, improve them, and then they'll contribute positively to the team. And we're just sitting here like not signing anybody. It makes you think, well, what are we good at in terms of recruitment anymore? You know, like, why are they not doing anything? And I can only think it's because one of two things: we generally got no money to spend, or the money's being held back for the summer, and we're just going to take a risk for the next 5-6 months. Or it is that Klopp's looking at the squad and going, well, all of my midfielders bar Arthur Melo are back and fit. I think they're good enough. I just need to, you know, tweak things a little bit and help them get back to some kind of form. It's a little bit worrying, because I think as fans we can see that a lot of these players, you know, they're kind of past it now, aren't they? And I'm not sure if Klopp is seeing it that way.
I think what you said there might be right. Let me just get this super chat. Big up honesty again. Klopp would tell us we got Arthur Melo, who deserves playing time. You may have just watch. I mean, I think Arthur Melo will play when he's fit, because you might as well. You know, he's going to be fit by the end of this month, they reckon. So if he's back for February, you might as well play him. You know, why not? Why not? Put him in the Champions League squad, get him up against Real Madrid. Why not? What have we got to lose right now? Because, but you might be right what you say there. And this is where the sentimentality comes into it, right? I'm all for sentimentality in sport, by the way. You get rid of that, you ruin the sport. But it goes too far sometimes. And I do feel where Klopp looks at a person like Naby Keita. Now, I've been saying it for a while. If Naby Keita's fit for me, he should play. I don't see the point of having a fit Naby Keita and not using him. I really don't. Because you got someone like a Naby Keita right now. You got Harvey Elliott and a Naby Keita. Yeah? I think that's what Klopp's looking at. What one am I going to play, right? And I feel like with Harvey Elliott, you're putting a young kid who's inexperienced. You're playing first in a position he don't really want to play in. He finds a bit alien to himself, right? Plus, you're putting him into a team that's not winning. Harvey should only be coming to a winning side. So when this team starts winning again, that's when you can bring Harvey in and out. Yeah. So you can, if we're 3-0 up in a game, you know, with 20 minutes to go, that's a perfect opportunity to bring a Harvey Elliott on. Yeah. At the moment, this team is dying. It's losing. It can't play well at the moment. And what you're doing, you're hanging out a Harvey to dry by putting him out there continuously, right? Because he hasn't got it in him at the moment. You always see a different when Cater comes on in the last few games. So I don't get why you just don't. You got a fit Naby there. Just use him. Don't be so stubborn because you know he's not going to sign a contract. This is my thing. If he's still a Liverpool player and he's still got a Liverpool contract right now, use him because you'll get something out of him. You got to stop with the stubbornness. He's fit.
The thing is, I think you're going to see him a bit more now because you see the two people that shouldn't have been here, or Naby is one of them that shouldn't be here because of injury after injury after injury. But he's always backed him. He always says that, you know, this is a great player. And look, you know what my views are with Naby. But listen, I love Naby at the moment. He's come on. He's been playing decently well. There's a bit more urgency with him coming on, wanting the ball and stuff like that. The one person, right, like Ox, every season I get from Jurgen Klopp, is Ox is like having a new signing. In my mind, psychologically, right, I think he's trying to get them to sign new deals. And then that's two potential players that are still in a book or they're committed for a little while. But the problem, again, is the injuries. But I think what they're doing with Naby at the moment, they're slowly integrating him back into the team. I don't know whether it's like the 50 minutes, 60 minutes he gets games or maybe 40 minutes, whatever. They have been doing time things with Naby Keita. And so far, I mean, like the last couple of games I watched Naby, he looked good. He just needs more games. And he might be getting these games now. But the thing is, like I said, I'm really annoyed. But this is a personal perspective, The two players that I've just mentioned, they played decently well since they've come back from injury. Now, is that because they're looking for moves? Or is that because, you know, they're actually committed to the cause and there is potentially something in it? Don't know.
Hey, Baz, if they're looking for moves, I don't, you know, but they're playing well, I don't care.
Yeah.
Put them in.
Right
if they're
now,
looking for moves and they're playing well and we got them for the 6 months and they get us over the line, I don't give a shit.
Right now, that's exactly how I feel. Because before,
you know what? On the Naby point, right, Aaron kind of in the chat just took the words out of my mouth. He's come on as a sub. And coming on as a sub where you're kind of chasing a game or looking to get a goal is very different to starting a game because that urgency is there. Like he's brought on and it's kind of go out there and just get the ball forward, you know, try and drive at people, do a 1-2 as he does and stuff. Don't worry so much, although you always have to. Don't worry so much about defensive responsibilities, tracking back and this and that. Like you've got 30 minutes or 20 minutes, go out there and just give me absolute energy whilst you're on there. And that's, I think, why you see you're kind of looking at Naby thinking he's doing quite well because he's coming on as a sub trying to impact the game and he's like got this freedom. I also think as well, he looks good because he's the only midfielder at the minute that is willing to carry the ball. And he actually runs through the center of the park. No one else does. They always pass it out wide or pass it back, or, you know, they'll give, you know, they never drive the ball through the center. The people that drive forward are the fullbacks on the wings, really. And Naby, once he drives through that center, he's always looking for a teammate to do a 1-2 with or link up with. And we've been starved of that kind of link up play, you know, that team build up, as so to speak, you know, in you know, how do I describe it, like 1-2s and creating triangles around the 18-yard box and stuff. And that's what Naby kind of encourages because he always gives a pass but looks for it back and stuff. And I think when we see that, although it's not particularly effective, it's nice to see that somebody's trying to create something or trying to like work something out and be a little bit inventive, because the standards have dropped so much this season that we're literally talking. Yeah, and I don't know. It's hard to compare because you kind of think it looks good, but how good actually is it? I think it looks good because the likes of Fabinho and Henderson, they don't do anything like that, you know. And I think when you've got one player in there, I'm sure if you drop Ox into the midfield three, right, as like the more advanced centre midfield, you'd think of him in the same way because you'd see 1 or 2 drives forward with the box that looks like a powerful run. And you'll think, yeah, he's playing well. he's not really. It's just you're comparing him to the guys that are around him who aren't doing anything at all. So it's a difficult one. But I'm in agreement with you. Like Naby's looks as though he's going to stay until his contract's out. If he's there and available, the most important thing is that Liverpool get wins. And if their players are there, regardless of what their future is, you just have to use them. You know, pick the guys based on form and try and get Liverpool back to where, you know, they need to be this season.
Well, I'm doing like at 6 o'clock. I'm doing my preview for show for the Brighton game, right? And obviously we're going to talk about Naby a lot then, but I think Naby has to start against Brighton. I think he has to start against Brighton. I think his substitution appearances lately have impressed, and I think when you look at Harvey and Hendo at the moment, them starting games isn't working right now. I don't think you can drop Thiago. Although I don't think he's working. I don't think Thiago's been that great this season. It's a bit like what you're saying about Keita just then, Cav. I feel like that way with Thiago a little bit. I don't think Thiago's been that great this season. It's just that his ability on the ball and as a footballer is so much better than everyone else in our midfield that it looks like he's better than everyone. Where I don't think he's actually been that great this season. Yeah. But he has to play. We've got no choice.
With better players, Jamie, he'll be a great player.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just that I don't think he's been great this season just because of the fact. But you can because he's so much better than everyone else around him, he's going to look better on the eye. Fabinho has to play because Henderson can't play the 6, and we've got no one else who can play there. So them two have to play. And if you've got them two playing, then it's a Henderson or Elliott. And at the moment, I don't want either of them playing. So start Naby. And if Naby can only play 60 minutes, what he's going to give you for 60 minutes is better than what Elliott and Hendo are going to give you right now. Because as you said, he's a ball carrier. And when you've got someone who's a ball carrier, it takes the pressure off your midfield straight away in your defence. Because they're carrying the ball. And what he does do, he looks for 1-2s. He looks for passes. He looks to give and go. He can dribble. He can take players on, right? He can, draw fouls and stuff like that. And that's what we need, right? And if he can only do it for 60 minutes, then you can bring a Hendo on for half hour or something like that, or an Harvey Elliott if we're winning a game. He's just got, I just don't see the point of having a fit Naby right now and not use him. And if he's just playing to get a new contract somewhere else or put his face in the shop window and go, look, I am still a player, use it. Just use it. You've got 6 months left this season. We're not in a position where we can ignore him. This is the problem. We're not like fighting with Man City and we can ignore him at the moment because we're quite comfortable. We're top of the league. We're fighting all the way. So it's not a problem. Like last season. Naby was fit of a lot of last season, but we ignored him because we didn't need him because we're up there fighting. Everyone was working their asses off. This season's different. We need him. So use him. It's as simple as that for me. Be it honestly, Klopp needs therapy because he's so sentimental. Too attached. He's got PTSD from the Borussia days when he kept losing his best players. Be it honestly, he does talk about that a heck of a lot. I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him because Dortmund got absolutely pillaged every single year by Bayern Munich, didn't they? Every single any player Klopp made good as like, right, we'll have him now. He just so I don't blame him for maybe having that a bit, but
maybe a blessing in disguise. Otherwise, they'd kept hold of all of them, and they'd be in the position we are now. Yeah,
exactly. But look, no one got hold of. But we've got players. There's a ruthless streak I don't think we got in this team as well. I was speaking about this yesterday. I was looking at the players. I don't know if we're ruthless enough in this midfield area. So I'm talking about Naby just now, but Naby's been here 5 years, and I can't tell you 5 great Naby moments in 5 years. I just can't. I just can't. I'm talking about him now because we're in a shit position right now, and he's playing decently. But in the 5 years we've had him, I can't think of 5 great games. And if that's the case, why have we kept him this long? Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's been here a long time now, and after his first 2 injuries, that was serious. We should have been looking about letting him go, because he was never going to be the same player for us in what Klopp wants to do. Klopp's all about intensity. How can you use somebody who's had them 2 serious injuries now, Oxlade-Chamberlain's had, and say he can still be intense for us in midfield? Can't. Should have been thought about letting him go. Henderson. Right, now we come to Michael Edwards. So if you, it all depends what rumours you like to believe, yeah. Because we're not clear on it. Like all I want as a fan, Cav wants as a fan, Baz wants as a fan, everyone in the chat wants as a fan is our fan base being clear, right? Our fan base going clear. No worries, Cav. Our fan base being clear, and so Michael Edwards left, yeah. You heard one rumour is like he just had his time at a club. I think he'd been at a club 8 to 10 years in all at the football club.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, and I think 8 years in a role as sporting director, yeah. And you're like, okay, fair enough. He's been at a club for 10 years. He wants to move on. Got no problem with that. Then you hear another rumour coming out when Henderson and Milner signed their new contracts that he fell out with Jurgen about it because he didn't want to give them new contracts. He was the one who didn't want to give Milner and Hendo a new contract because it's his job. He didn't want it. He said the club needs to move on. If we sign these two up the new contracts, you're filling up areas in their position that we need to develop over the years. And they've got no sell-on value after. I mean, who's going to buy a 32-year-old Hendo? Who's going to buy, you can't buy it. No one's going to buy a James Milner. Do you know what I mean? So you're basically keeping players and telling them, right, that's it. You're here for Liverpool now. And you're keeping up 2 spaces. So there was rumours that he went after that as well. Then you look at Julian Ward came in, right? Julian Ward knows the job. Yeah, he's been working under Liverpool for a couple of years under Michael Edwards. He knows what FSG do. So I'm not buying the fact that, he knows FSG ain't got no money, so he wants to leave the club. He knows what he's coming into, So I look at Julian Ward and think, right, when did the news come out that he's decided not to carry on his job at the end of the season after Curtis Jones signed his new contract? Right.
I think we may be overlooking this a little bit, but Julian Ward, as you rightly said, Jay, he was shadowing Michael Edwards for a while, and then he stepped into the role which he knew would be taken. We found out when Edwards was leaving, but he'd have known prior to that, so he knew it was coming up. There was a succession plan there, right? And it seemed perfect that he would be there shadowing him for a while, then take over the role, and then he's in the role, and he's not even he's going to do what, a year and move on. I mean, shouldn't we really read into it? I don't know what, but that should tell us that something's changed, whether that's Klopp taking more power in the transfers or, the approach to how we sign players is a bit different. Maybe it's not in the money that isn't there to sign the players that they want. So now they're having to shop in different markets or something. I don't know. It's all speculation, but I do just think it's strange for a guy to want the job, know what the job is, get the job, and then decide to leave. That's a bit. There's something in that, I'm sure, but I don't think we'll ever know until years to come, and maybe someone releases another book or something. I don't know, but it seems a bit. It does seem a bit strange, and I suppose it's a little bit worrying because it shows that your house is completely in order. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I got to drop off. I'm really sorry, but I'll leave you to it. Have a good show. Everyone in the chat, smash the like for the guys. I'll catch you all in a bit. All right.
Yeah.
Take care, man.
See you later, guys.
See ya. No, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. Cool. No. I was just gonna say. I mean, look, at the end of the day, right? These guys from the transfer that's left or leaving, it's something's not right, and I'm worried because the thing is, we did buy some great players. You know what I mean, with these guys, and they've done all right for us. Why? I potentially believe like Jurgen Klopp and obviously Pep are the ones that want to take control of transfers, but I'm a bit worried about that because it's not proven that these players that they're going to potentially bring in are going to be successful because those other guys have got it right. What's happened?
Yeah, it's mad, ain't it? I don't know what's happened to this team. I really don't. Big honesty, just a fun one. Sell keep loan. Bakitic, Doak, and Morton. Oh.
You have a go, and I'll do mine after.
Well, Morton just signed a brand new contract, ain't he? And he's on loan. I think Morton's going to take one of them homegrown spots. I think eventually in a couple of years' time. I think Morton stays, Doak on loan, and Bakitic sell.
Do you know what? I actually would give Ben Doak a little bit more. I have a feeling this guy can be a potential out of nowhere play. You know, Salah's been poor this season. You know, he can come in. Look what he did. He did more than what Salah did in his last game. All right, Salah scored a goal, but he's that unknown, that unpredictability. And I think they need to give him some chances to see what he's about. And if he's about that life, then, you know what I mean, play him. You know, his raw talent. But or if not, loan him if he does have potential, but just not quite there. Bajcetic, he's impressed me a lot. And if you're impressing people, you don't need to go out on loan. I think someone like Curtis Jones, for example, needs to go out on loan to see what is he about that life, because he's just stale. Whereas these other guys are not, apart from Morton. Morton's getting his games, you know what I mean? So he might come back and do bits. So
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, by the way, everyone in chat, I was thinking in the Klopp way. So if I'm thinking in the Klopp way, I think Morton stays, Doak goes on loan and Bajcetic gets sold. I'm thinking in the Klopp way. In reality, I'd let Morton go, but because everyone's got to remember, Morton should sign a brand new contract, yeah. So I would probably keep Bajcetic and Doak and let go of Morton, Tyler Morton, let him go somewhere and have a great career somewhere else. But I'm just thinking the Liverpool way, and I think Liverpool as a club would rather keep Morton and Doak over Stefan Bajcetic. I don't know why. I think they just would, but. I think Liverpool see Doak as a superstar in the making. I think they see Stefan Bajcetic, Doak as a superstar in the making. I really do. Bajcetic, my problem with Stefan, right, and this is from a Liverpool point of view, not my point of view. If they see him as a defensive-minded midfielder, as a controller in midfield, if Liverpool are looking for other players in that area, like a Thuram and all that, then you got Thuram, Fabinho, then Stefan's not getting no games. Where I can see Tyler Morton getting games elsewhere in the midfield, and Doak will obviously get games because he's a right winger. So then that slowly stops Stefan playing. But if it's me personally, just myself, yeah, I would keep Stefan Iniesta. I'd keep Doak on and loan him out because he's a young lad, and then I would sell Morton and tell him to have a great career somewhere else. Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, I like, but it's something about Doak, like Baz said, there is something about Doak. I think the club like him as well. What I'm hearing from the club is that they're really invested in him. That's why I've seen him a couple of times already this season in Premier League games and in FA Cup games and stuff like that, because they're actually quite. Their first interest is Kay Gordon. Kay Gordon is the one, right? He is the one that Jurgen Klopp and Pep Lijnders absolutely love. Is Kay Gordon, yeah? But because of his injuries, Kay Gordon was meant to be part of this squad this season. All right. I don't know if people know this. So Kay Gordon was meant to be part of the Liverpool squad this season. He was meant to be in pre-season, but he got that bad injury, right? So he didn't get any pre-season. So what's happened is Ben Doak's come in, and now Ben Doak, in my opinion, is above Kay Gordon now in the pecking order in that position. I think Kay Gordon was meant to be Klopp and Pep's choice. They loved him. I actually liked when I saw him play as well when he came on. Very direct, quick, likes to have a shot. You know, and Ben Doak's very similar, ain't it? And I just think Doak has now taken over Kay Gordon in that role. And I think you're going to see a lot of Doak this season. I think he's going to be in the squad, man. I think as long as Jota and all that are still injured, Ben Doak's going to be in this squad. And so he should be. It's too good to play with the under-23s. I don't want to see him playing with the under-23s. It's too good.
Yeah.
It's too good. It's too good. Get him training with the first team. Get him in the first team squad. Let him train there. Yeah, I don't want him training with the under-23s, the under-23 coach. What's the point? Literally, what's the point? He's too good for all that. He's too good for that place. Get him in the first team. Get him playing. Get him training with the first team squad. He's going to learn so much training with the first team squad than he will anywhere else. There's no point. Sometimes I don't think there's a point in loaning players. Because if you loan a player, like we loaned Peter Luger to Macclesfield, what was the point? What was the point? He would learn much more training under Ali. To be fair, he'd learn much more training under Adrian and bloody all that than going to Macclesfield. It's like a pointless loan. What's the point? You know, it's stupid.
I think it's just
sometimes you need a loan player. Curtis Jones for me, right? Curtis Jones, I think could do with a loan to Spain, right? Because I think Curtis Jones needs to go to Spain or in Italy, like a lower level Spain or Italian side, like an Espanyol or something like that, right? To learn the more technical side of the game, because there's a player there that can do something, but Klopp plays him 1 week, he looks decent, and you never see him again. It's a madness. And if you're Curtis Jones, you're like, can I keep playing 1 game here, 1 game there, or do I need to go on loan elsewhere? Let's bring G in. And man, G in the house. How you doing, G?
Pick up, G.
All good, guys. How are you guys doing, man? You guys all right?
Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. Let me just get honest here. Let's just do honesty. Super chat. Do you guys think that Bakatic will take Fab's position over, since it looks like he isn't having so much faith? Yeah. Klopp don't fancy. If anyone has listened to Klopp's marks lately, you know, when Klopp's talking about the midfield, yeah, and he's having to go about the aggression, the intensity at midfield, he's actually talking about Fabinho. Right? He's actually talking about Fabinho, right, all the time. But we have to play him because we got no one else to play that position right now, which is a massive issue. Or have we? Because this guy has just signed a brand new contract.
I don't see any. I don't know. I don't know if it's me, but I don't see anything in this guy. I really don't.
What did I tell you, Jamie, about Tyler Morton?
Yeah. We said it, didn't we?
What did I tell you? I told everybody this guy will come back into the squad next season. Everyone was like, nah, man, we'll back. There's your midfielder.
We said, didn't we? He went on loan to Blackburn for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Harvey Elliott. And
yeah.
I don't know how well he's doing over there. I'm going to say I haven't kept tabs on him.
He's done all right.
I think he's done all right.
Yeah, he's done all right. But I don't rate him that high, though, to be fair. You know what I mean? There's nothing, you know, I just don't know. I don't know about him. I think, look, for a British quota player, fine. But no, bro, I don't see him in a Liverpool team, like, you know, starting. Nah, not for me, man. But what do I know?
Slammed. What? It's
You
true.
I mean,
I saw him the other day and I went, Jesus Christ, he's got big.
I can imagine.
He's got a lot bigger. He's probably off that pot noodle diet now that Liverpool Academy are on. So,
Exactly.
Not the Kit Kat, not the Kit Kat.
he's got a bit bigger.
Sorry, man. I'm so hungry. Like, I've been not eating all day. Like, starving.
He's put on a bit of weight. He's grown a little bit. He's got a little bit bigger. So maybe they're looking at it and thinking, you know what? Maybe he can play in that position. But we have no Fabinho cover. This is the issue. Henderson, I always thought could play it, but when I saw him play it the other day, I was like, no, I never want to see that ever again in my life. So stop that. You know, he hasn't got the legs to play there now. I think he could have done a few years back, but he hasn't got the leg. And plus, Hendo can't give you 90 minutes no more. So we desperately need a defensive midfielder. So the rumours coming out today, I don't know if you saw them, is one Thuram at Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently Nice are willing to let him go for 30 mil. Should Liverpool be all over that?
I'm not going to comment on him because I haven't seen him too much. I don't know
Neither have I.
if he's that good or not. But just look at all the midfielders that we've been linked to, man. Like, they all seem to be different. So I'm just trying to figure out what it is that you actually want. You know, usually you might say, prime example, Arsenal back in the day, we all know that they needed like a destroyer under Wenger, you know, when Patrick Vieira left. So obviously they had the Gilberto Silvas, but then they needed a destroyer in that middle. So the type of players that he was then buying after that didn't really match up to what they kind of really needed. Santi Cazorla, fantastic players, by the way, you know, your Rosickis, your Hlebs, your Santi Cazorlas, you know, people of that kind of ilk, but it wasn't what they really, really needed. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here with Liverpool, is that unless Jurgen Klopp's looking to change the way that he's trying to play, if he is, like I said, if we could see that, I don't think we'd be getting onto him so much this season. I don't think it would be too much of you're playing shit, because you can at least see something. You know, you could say, or when he gets the right players in, that's when the right player can be used now, because then we can say, all right, you know what, we can see what you're trying to do here. But when it's a case of we don't really know what it is you're trying to do, it's like, I can't remember who mentioned it, but I was talking about with Jerry the other day. Liverpool, I think you might have mentioned it, Jamie or Cav, but it's like Liverpool got three. It's like we've got three managers. You got FSG players, you got Klopp players, you got Pep Yildiz players, all trying to play in one team under kind of two different tactical styles throughout a season because we're playing so poorly. So intensity, then we tried to change it. Then he went back to intensity, possession, press, half press. This game we're doing this. This game, it's all over the gaff. It's all over the gaff. This guy from Nice, is he a box to box? Is he a destroyer? Is he what we actually need? Is he just a player because he's a central midfielder playing well? If that's the case, you might as well just go out and get anybody, really and truly.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying this earlier on in the show. It's like, as you say, the players we're looking at, you know, like some players, like Neves, like I got on the thumbnail, Neves and Tielemans, yeah, they're players Liverpool are looking at, right? And for me, I look at them because I'm always looking at who's the right player, because Klopp keeps mentioning, like Paul Joyce said, Liverpool won't do any more January transfer business unless the right player comes available. Who the fuck's the right player? Because as far as I'm concerned, Neves and Tielemans are better than Milner and Henderson. Right?
Maybe not for what Klopp wants to do, though. Maybe
but what does he want to do? Because what he wants to do isn't working. This is the problem. What he wants to do isn't working. It's not working. You know, we're playing. If you're playing a high line, yeah. If your team's playing a high line, your fullbacks are very high and wide and get forward a lot, and your two centre backs are really pushing up to the water halfway line. If you're playing that way, your midfield and forward line have to press. They have to, because if they don't, you don't win the second ball. You get counter-attacked on, and the other opposition's midfield press on yours, and you get absolutely swallowed alive, right? And that's what's been happening to us. So if we're playing that way, and we're playing players that don't press. Last season, right, we was all moaning about the football. It was quite boring to watch, yeah? But we played a different way. We played a more techie way, didn't we? You know, it was on the floor, not many
more
balls or anything. More possession-based football, yeah? Right? Everyone said it was boring, but look, it was a great season because we went everywhere, right? And it worked. But he's gone away from it that season. As far as I'm concerned, we've gone back this season to how we played 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But with less players. It makes no sense. So when I'm seeing like who's the right player, so what does Klopp want to do? Does Klopp want to play the techie side where it's more possession based? Or does he want to play high line, high intensity football? Because at the moment I think we got the players to play we played last season, right? I think if you get Elliott playing that techie one-touch ball, I think you see a better Harvey Elliott. Because he hasn't got to run around like a lunatic, not knowing what position he's meant to be on the pitch in case there's a counter attack on, because he's not used to it. Like if you look at his Dortmund team, look, this is his Dortmund side. Look at that techie midfield, man.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, and it's
but look at that midfield. Other than who's that? Gertz. I don't know what year this was, and I don't know how old.
2013.
So I don't know how old Gertz was at that time, but he'd probably be the only one I can think of out of everyone there who was young, so to speak. Everyone else is experienced. Everyone else is, experienced players kind of thing. So you're right. Like if you get Elliott in and around, like I think I was listening a bit earlier on, if you get Elliott in and around an experienced kind of lot, I'll be honest, I know we go back to City, but exactly what Man City did with Foden is that they didn't just throw the guy in. Even when they needed players and, the team might have not been performing well and stuff, they didn't just throw him in. This guy was coming in, substitute appearances here, like I think there was a period of time when he was just coming on as a sub and people were even saying, Pep, man, send him out on loan or play him. And, Pep was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep feeding him in, drip feeding him in, win, lose or draw. It doesn't really matter. He needs to, obviously, we're trying to sort out his development. And I think that's what he needs to do with, someone like with a Harvey Elliott, is drip feed him in, regardless of what's kind of going on. Obviously, if you've got no one, fair enough. But at the end of the day, you've then sent out Tyler Morton on loan anyway, who is an actual central midfielder. Wouldn't he have been maybe a better option to have just played in that central midfield, maybe he would have been giving us a different output. I'm not saying he's better or anything. I'm just saying just use the players in their positions kind of thing.
It's a weird one, ain't it? So Ox is playing on the wings at the moment.
Yeah.
But he first plays central midfield. And you'd say Harvey Elliott is more of a wider player.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at Harvey play, even when he plays in the central midfield position, he naturally drifts into a wide position because it's natural to him. So don't take something that's natural to him away from him. You know, we play Ox out there because he's got legs and he can run. He's got pace. I don't think Klopp trusts Ox defensively. That's why he don't play in midfield.
Maybe,
right?
maybe.
But I don't know. But I don't know how you can still trust Harvey defensively at the same time. It's a weird one. I feel for Harvey Elliott because I feel like you're putting a kid out there who's 19 years old. He's not long been a professional footballer, you know, and you're putting him out there in a situation where Liverpool are not playing well at the moment, and you're expecting a 19-year-old kid to change everything around for us in that midfield because he's 19, because he's young and full of energy. That's not the way to do it. Harvey should be coming in like Foden did. Foden didn't come in when City were crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Try and change things because it's not right. You bring them into winning teams. Harvey should be brought into a team that's winning. Liverpool are 3-0 up in the game. We all wish. Liverpool are 3-0 up in the game with 20 minutes to go. Perfect opportunity to bring a Harvey Elliott on because he can show off a little bit. He can get involved into the game, and Klopp can give him a bit of freedom because we're 3-0 up, and you can just let him go on the pitch and show what he can do. But playing him at the moment, I just think you'll keep putting him out there all the time. And I don't think it's fair on him. I said Naby Keita earlier. What is the point of having a fit Naby Keita and not using him?
Yeah, the Naby Keita thing is weird.
Just use him. He's like Cav, like we were saying earlier, and Cav was making the point, like he's coming on a substitute and showing what he can do in them little spells. But maybe that's his role, sort of thing. Because dead the team is. But I'm like, if he's fit, use him. Like Baz was saying, if he's just playing well to get a new contract or playing well to put his face in the shop window for teams to buy him, I don't care. If he's doing it, use him for 6 months. What's it matter? You know, I
think they must. I think that because with Ox, he's done that. With Ox, he's just used him, even though he's got 6 months left. He might not sign a new deal and blah 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 blah. But
I think he wants Ox to stay.
Yeah, and I think there's something gone on between Naby and Klopp. Maybe because of the role. Maybe because I think you mentioned about last season, Keita was fit, but we never really used him, you know, as much as he probably would have liked. Maybe there's been obviously a little bit of issue there as well because, as you say, just, you know, use him, but he doesn't. It's like he doesn't want to use him unless it's like really when we're losing. That's when he brings him on, and then it's like, oh wow, he can do this, he can do that, and you're like, well, why didn't you start him? But I think there's probably something there, you know, between the two in terms of Naby's not really happy, to be honest. He wants to leave. He probably prefer to leave now if the opportunity arose. But we're in a situation where it's like you can't get rid of him because he's a body who's fit at this current moment in time. So you keep him and just risk it. Well, not even risk it. Just say, yeah, he's going to go off on a free, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he can talk to people now as well. Remember him, Ox, Firmino, all of these guys can talk to other clubs around Europe. So they're probably doing that at this current moment in time. Like, it's just this whole succession plan. Honestly, man, it doesn't really make any sense. They've done everything completely backwards. Cav made a good point earlier, which I was laughing when he said about, you know, Borussia Dortmund and all their players, you know, getting poached by Bayern Munich and stuff like that. And it might have been a blessing in disguise because of how the team might have potentially have ended up. And I feel like that's kind of happening here in the situation because we're not going to get a situation where Man City are going to buy Liverpool players because one, the price is going to probably be stupid. So they're not going to want to do it. Whereas in Germany, that's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? They got Lewandowski for free. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So those kind of things can happen over there in Germany. Over here, that's not happening at all. You're not going to get Salah for a good price. You're going to get him at a ridiculous price because it's another English team and we don't really sell to rivals. So I'm looking at him thinking, yeah, it might have just been a blessing in disguise over there. Here, he's now in a situation where he's having to keep all of these old guys here or the older players here, the guys he's been with for the last 4 or 5 years. He trusts them. That's probably a key thing. He trusts them a lot because he trusts them to then bring someone else in that he doesn't really know. Yeah, you might have scouted him, but you don't know if you trust him until he's obviously come on the pitch and done his stuff. So there's a little bit there, man. But Klopp just needs to he just needs to sort it out, man. Honestly, I'm so bored of just Klopp and everything that he's doing at the moment. It's just getting tiresome. Every week, every match game, we're talking about the same things. You know, Klopp doing this, he's not doing that. Why is this guy playing? Why is that guy playing?
It's a madness. It's a madness.
Yeah,
big up
I
DJ Brains.
totally agree.
Big up DJ Brains. Thank you. Super chat as always. When Klopp brought in Fab and Genie, they wasn't at or even on most of us wish this. That is true. Klopp thinks different. Just hope we can get some midfielders in. Be up to you, my friend. Yeah, that is true. I've been saying it for a while that, you know, I said it before January that Liverpool will look to get players in that we've probably not been linked with, and then we went and got Gakpo in. So it could be something like that. But I've been reading something just now. I've got to tell people about. So all this midfield talk, yeah, right? What's the position we all know we need to buy as midfield, yeah? We need to get midfielders in. We shouldn't be looking at any other position for this summer or this January. It should just be midfielders. And then the following season after that, we can go and look at the other positions we need to fill, right? That's what we all feel, right? Apart from Liverpool Football Club, guess what position we're looking at filling up next?
Go on.
Defender. Goalkeeper.
Striker.
What?
I'm just looking at G's face.
No, you know why?
So,
because I said this to someone.
Liverpool have made contact with Rennes to sign forward Martin Terrier. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Oh, him. Oh, yeah. We've linked with him before. Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently Liverpool are... I'm just reading it here now in the Liverpool Echo. According to some sources in the media, Liverpool have made contact with Rennes to sign forward Martin Terrier. He has caught the eye in his performances at a French club, and it suggested that it could cost a minimum of 35 million euros, which is £30 million, to secure a deal for him. Premier League rivals Man United and Arsenal have also been credited with an interest in him, while the Reds were well stocked in attack right now. So a move seems unlikely right now, though. But why are we looking at him? Even if Firmino leaves, we still got 5 forwards.
I don't think they trust Diogo Jota's injury.
Is it Jota or Diaz's?
More Jota, because Diaz we don't know until he comes back. We won't know until if he's going to be that kind of injury.
I believe Diaz's injury is like what R9 had.
Yeah, but R9 still had a long enough career. He just kind of fucked up himself really over the time, kind of, because he still played for Real Madrid. He still played for your AC Milans and stuff like that. So he was all right. It's just he messed it up.
Apparently Diaz's injury, I didn't know this, but apparently the tendon that connects to your kneecap, completely tore away. So his kneecap was starting to fall down his leg.
I've seen that to someone.
That's pretty much what Thing had. Gomez.
Yeah, it's a mad, horrible injury. So I don't know. They could be worried about the Diaz and Jota situation. The Jota one's weird because I think we brought Jota back too quick, man.
But Jota's now to me. I put him in. If I had to put him in which class, he's an injury-prone player. Jota gets way too many injuries. Way too many injuries.
He did at Wolves as well, though, to be fair.
So then why the hell are you signing a guy who's fucking injury-prone to then bring him into a team that requires...
I think Diaz was just unlucky. I will say. I think Diaz was just unlucky. But Jota,
the thing is, all right. I mean, look, it might sound like I'm jumping the gun, but when you look at our team, okay,
fantastic.
Apart from Van Dijk, in defense, I mean, you've got Konate potentially injury prone, Matip injury prone, Ox injury prone, Keita injury prone, Jota injury prone. There's gonna be more.
Milner.
Well, there you go. Milner, fine. You can give him that. Okay, he's at that age, but you don't expect him to start every game in that. But this is where I when you have injury prone players, you shut them off. You know what I mean? You shut them off because you can't rely on them. I don't want to be hearing Jota's on the bench because he's not here. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah, I started laughing when I said big up to Jerry, bro.
Jerry, my man.
But
If
it's,
you're
yeah.
if you're free, Jerry, you can come on if you want, man. I'll send you the link. Jerry's like, "France,
Yeah.
fine, girl." Jesus. Go on, Sarah. Go on, Baz. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that. You know what? If they are going to get him for Jota, I can understand that, but don't keep Jota. You know what I mean? Sell him. You know what I mean? Diaz. I have a feeling Diaz's injury is quite serious as well. But when I mean serious, I'm talking about like it might potentially, the way he plays, he's a player that twists and turns and stuff like that. If he's damaged his knee like that, and Liverpool are simply not going to, as soon as he's fit, they're going to start him or they're going to play him. You know what I mean? He's going to tear himself up even more. Do you know what I mean? And he's just not going to have the longevity. And I think a lot of these players, with the way Klopp plays and how his training is and stuff like that, he's going to burn these players out. That's what he's doing. Even the players that are not injury prone are burnt out. Henderson is like he looks like his Olin James Milner and is feeling it. Do you know what I mean? And he's no way near James. You know, he's what, 30, 31, 32, something like that. Milner's 37, going to be 38. You know, he looks like he's a lot more older. You know what I mean? It's scary. It's scary.
I just don't get why you. Sorry, no, but really short.
I was just say, big up the Dean. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Ola, Jamie, and panel. I've got a feeling we are not going to get any new players in this window because number of one target is Jude. We're in the mud for rules. Hashtag FSG, hashtag Klopp in for now, but I'm this close. It's not this close. Big up, Dean. Big up to you, my friend.
It'll be sick if I saw, as much like everyone knows already, like I want Klopp to leave. Whatever, Klopp out, whatever. It'll be sick if I ever saw, if I could see Klopp just in the summer, just got rid of all the fucking dead weight that was at this club and just rebuilt how he needs to rebuild. If he does that, I might even be more inclined to be like, you know what, I'm gonna give this guy another chance. Do you get what I mean? I'm gonna see what he can do now, because clearly he's a manager who's obviously good at like rebuild jobs. Like I said, he gets you to the top of the mountain. He can do all of that kind of thing. He's shown it, so I can't dismiss him for that. But I'm looking at the team, and whether it was him, whether it's FSG because of the money, whether it's Pep Yinders and his influence, or Michael Edwards because he left, or Julian Ward, I don't know. Whatever it is, the whole recruitment just went to shits at some point in time, and there's been no real succession plans for anything that's really going. Like, you can't have Fab, Thiago, Hendo. That can be your main three, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They did great, whatever, last season. You can't go from that to then your next three being youngsters. Like, how does that work? Like, where's the guy in the middle who's supposed to kind of come in? Because remember, Fab, Hendo, and Thiago, they're all over 20. Well, at the time, they're all over the ages of 28, 29 anyway. So then I'm thinking, well, yeah, he's a good player. He went to Benfica, I think. So it's like, you're thinking to yourself, so where's the guy, where's your Calvin Phillips, for example, who comes in for Fabinho, so that a Tyler Morton, for example, can have that kind of leeway to be able to still come in, or Bajcetic to kind of make mistakes, come in for certain games, like Jamie said, come in when we're winning, and you just show off what you can do, blah blah blah. It's all it's all fantastic. It's just literally, it just goes from Fab, Hendo, Thiago, and then boom. Trent Alexander-Arnold is only, 23, 24? Your next right back is 18, who was playing in the fucking Scottish division. No disrespect, but for a struggling team. I think someone mentioned it. I was listening yesterday, and I'm thinking, did you get a big up yourself? And it's like, when I heard that, I was sitting there thinking to myself, bro, you're actually right. Like, you're actually right. Like, you've gone from a 24-year-old or 23, however old Trent is. Your next guy is 18, no experience at like any real level kind of thing. And even if he's got some level of experience in the Scottish league, he hasn't got enough experience for him to come in and replace one of the best right backs in world football. No way. I need someone either with more experience than Trent, or I need someone to just kind of come in to battle with Trent, whether they're the same age or not. It is what it is. And then I'm looking, other positions. You've got an entire centre-back collection of just injury-prone centre-backs. Surely there must be a succession plan in place there. The attack can't play like Salah, Mane, and Firmino in their prime. That's killing us anyway. Yes, we're getting goals. We can score goals. If they can't press and do what Salah, Mane, and Firmino was doing in their prime, and until he starts figuring out a way to play with someone who is not Firmino, we're not. It doesn't matter who you sign. Sign Jude, sign Enzo, sign Barella. I can guarantee you, we will not challenge for that title. That's not happening because that front three is too vital to what Klopp needs to do. Well, what he was trying to do, beforehand. Unless he's then trying to change up the way we play completely. If he's then trying to do that, then you need to just do it. Because you're not actually doing it. You're like Jamie said, I'm not seeing even last season the way we used to play. I'm not even seeing that. I don't mind if it's boring. If we're winning, do you think I care? Like, I don't care if it's boring. No one cares if it's boring football if you're winning every single week. Yeah, you want to see attractive football, but you don't care. Like, you actually don't care. Like, you prefer to see the team winning than anything. I'm not seeing that. So, like I said, I just don't understand, like, what is the deal? And everyone keeps saying, and this is it. If that's your succession plan, it is what it is at the end of the day. But the reality is, Klopp, Yinders, the recruitment team, Julian Ward for the time being, the owners, they need to come and sit down and figure out what the hell is it we want to do. We laugh at Chelsea, and I keep using Chelsea because people laugh at the fact that they've spent a lot of money. Don't focus so much on like your Aubameyangs and your Koulibalys and whatever. That's just purely because the team is just performing very, very badly at this current moment in time and they're not in form. Look at the other signings that they're making. Those are the ones I'm focusing on. And those are the ones that I'm looking at and I'm thinking, yeah, Chelsea are onto something. They've at least got a strategy and plan in place. Whether it works, we don't know. They bought a lot of young players. And they're trying to now integrate all of these young players with a bit more of experience. There's a strategy in that. New manager, things need to change. Things need time. So the reality is, if I can see a succession plan there at Chelsea, why am I not seeing one for Liverpool, who were just at the top the other day? We should already have that. I shouldn't be looking at the team and getting confused as to, oh, crap, so what we playing today? Or Jamie wants Naby Keita to play, but we know he's not going to play. He's going to play Harvey Elliott. And then Hendo's still going to play. And Nunes doesn't press like a Mane, so we get fucked on that side. And Salah is just doing nothing. So, we're completely fucked on the right-hand side, and we've got no Firmino. So what do we then do in the middle? Nothing's working, man. Nothing is working, and there's no plan. There's no plan.
You're right, man. You're right. So this came up today. So I'm not going to pronounce his name. They bought.
I'll give you a tenner if you can pronounce it correctly.
I ain't going to. You keep your money. Andreas, there you go. Apparently, Real Concrete talks about a move to Anfield and sub for the 18-year-old turned down the chance instead to play for Benfica. And I think Jerry put it best earlier. Yeah, watch us sign this guy next January after proving himself in Europe. It's like,
but this is what I'm saying though. Like, why didn't you just sign him?
Why are we looking at another attacker, though?
You know what, G? Do you know something, G? I read something yesterday. Yeah, I don't know how true it is. Okay, but it wouldn't surprise me. Obviously Nunes that had gone to Wolverhampton. Yeah. We could have got him for, what was it, around the 35-40 million pound mark. Yeah, this summer. Do you know how much he's actually going to cost us if we do get him in January? £76 million now. So what you just said there, yeah, this is key. You did the same thing with Jude Bellingham. Bear that in mind as well, yeah. We've done that with a few players. We've let them go, yeah. He's not kind of trusted them or anything like that, yeah. He's let them go on. They've performed, so they were right to like scout them, yeah. And now you want to get them. It's ridiculous. So this is what we really need to talk about our potential. When we sign players, the ones that are the for the future kind of players, yeah, those guys would certainly have been there. You buy these players if they're not quite at it at the moment. You train them. If you can't train them and give them the commitment, all right, because we're going for big boy titles and whatnot, yeah. Go and loan them out to top quality teams. Let them think. Go
to Benfica. Go to Benfica on loan. Like just to caveat what Baz is saying there, like just deep here, the sheer fact that we were in for this guy. I know we was kind of looking at Jude Quay before he moved to Dortmund, obviously, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I can allow that one. You're talking about Enzo, you're talking about Caicedo, and there's probably a raft of other players. But you then go out and you get players like Kai Gordon, and you've still got Tyler Morton. And I'm looking at thinking, there was no way that you saw this guy play and these guys play and decided that it's probably best we keep Tyler Morton, Kai Gordon, and etc. over keeping Caicedo, Enzo, and this guy, that's obviously Andreas, that's obviously moved to Benfica. I could have told you that those three there, as an example, just take those three. The other three, your Kai Gordons, your Tyler Mortons, yeah, you can loan them out and whatever. And exactly what Baz said, yes, you can also then loan it. Like, we don't even do that well, where we want to loan out players to, top quality teams, see how they do, let them develop. Like, you could have done a deal like that. You sign him from wherever Benfica signed him from. Benfica, do you want to have him on loan for a season? Let him develop in Europe. Exactly, Jerry. You need to start using that Chelsea loan system. Exactly. You have to, because that's Chelsea. So look at the players, that Chelsea were able to even get rid of. Your Martin Gay, who's then going to Crystal Palace for how much? That's an academy product. Gallagher. If they sell Gallagher,
Chelsea made all their money, man.
Exactly.
Everyone goes on about the sell to buy situation, right? And because Liverpool make it very obvious it's sell to buy. Believe it or not, Chelsea are quite similar, but it's behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Right? They sell because it's not on the books, because it's behind the scenes, because it's all youth players. They sell and loan out so many of their youth team. They make like 70 million every summer through loans and selling of their youth players, like G's saying right now, right? And then that frees up money that Roman can put in the first team, which they all cared about. The owners at Chelsea, when Roman came to Chelsea, he didn't care about the youth team. The youth team weren't going to win what he wanted next season. He wanted the Premier League, Champions League. That weren't going to win it for him. So he got the right managers in. He got Mourinho's in, your Carlo Ancelotti's in. And then he gave them the money to go and just get the players them managers wanted. That's why Chelsea sometimes bought like 28-year-olds, because Mourinho wanted players that will win him a trophy today, not tomorrow. Right?
Exactly. Because he knew he's still got those other players who can still come
in the
back.
In the pipeline, right? And Liverpool look like they are happy. This is where I come from. Liverpool look like they're happy to finish runners up and put in a great attempt to win in the Premier League. Yeah. They look like they're happy with that. Klopp looks like he's happy with that. The owners look like they're happy with that. They're all happy with the fact that we are there or thereabouts every season, yeah? Another manager might be like, so we're looking at all these midfielders, yeah? What say Klopp weren't manager next season, yeah? Klopp weren't manager next season, right? And all of a sudden, we buy these midfielders that would never have come under Jurgen Klopp. Right? They never would have come under Jurgen Klopp, but we buy these midfielders. We keep the core of our team, but we buy these midfielders in. We actually go and get them instead of them going somewhere else. Like, who knows? We might have got a Gravenberch, right? You might have got him. You know what I mean? For 30 minutes, we might have got we might have got a Camavinga before he went to Real Madrid. We are letting players go for no. I can't understand for no reason. But again, I look at what we're interested in right now. It's forwards. So it's Martin Terrier geezer. Apparently, he's got an ACL injury, so that's a no-go now. The Norwegian geezer, another winger. Why are we looking at wingers and forwards still?
But the answer to the question, Jamie, I keep telling you, is that Klopp does not see the same issues in the midfield that we see. And for him, as you said before, for him, it just comes down to obviously the right player. So let's take out Jude, because we already know that that's the player that they obviously want. Outside of Jude, I don't look at it and think, maybe I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I don't think that it's a Jude and Caicedo situation. I look at it as it's a Jude and that's it. If Jude does not come and it looks like he's not coming, you will go out and sign a Caicedo and maybe get another body kind of in. It won't be someone really good. It'll just be another body. I don't see a place where I'm seeing that we got 250. I still don't even see a place where we will go out and sign two elite midfielders, or just two midfielders of that kind of quality and level, like a Jude and a Caicedo. I don't see that ever at all, because I feel that he feels he's got enough in that team. Even if you take out your Nabbies, your Oxes, your James Milner, that's 3 players already gone. Tyler Morton just signed a new deal. Bajcetic, I think, just signed a new, contract. I think as he turned 18 or whatever,
and
he just signed a contract.
And Doak just signed his professional contract.
Doak has obviously signed his thing. Curtis Jones, obviously, maybe to protect his value, but also for the sheer fact that he trusts him enough to be able to keep him in the team. So when you're looking at, that's why the Jude thing is so intensified, because it's like, that's the one he wants. Once he gets Jude, that's where I'm going to be judging that. When, like, if we just sign Jude, for example, in the summer window, I'm still going to give it like a 3 or 4, because I'm going to look at it and think, you haven't actually addressed the issue. You signed a very, very good player, and I'm giving you the 3 or 4 based because he is very, very good. But what are you actually doing for the team? I need to know that you're getting in players. I need to know that there's a succession plan. We act like we need to spend 250 million. You do not need to spend these crazy, like Chelsea have spent, yes, a lot of money in totality, but if you look at some of these individual deals that they're doing for some of these young players, Amari Hutchinson, Chuck from Aston Villa, Fofana that they just bought, like some of the deals that they're doing are relatively cheap. So then I'm looking at it thinking, not to say you sign those guys, but just similar players of those kind of qualities who are young, and you do what Chelsea are doing. If you're a sell to buy model, it just makes, like, to me, that makes the most sense. Yes, you're going to get a pile up of players. Of course you will. But are you trying to tell me that Chelsea are crying that they let Gay go, they let Tomori go, they've let Loftus-Cheek has gone out on loan more times than I can count and is now back in the first team. Gallagher went out on loan. Someone could have bought him if they wanted to pay that price. He's come back into the first team and he's a first team player. Like, we're not doing any of that. I can't think of one reserve player. Doak is probably the highest prospect, but I need to see him at this level a bit more. Other than that, name me another reserve team player that you're looking at thinking, I need him in the first team squad. There's none. There is none.
There isn't.
Billy Kometio went out on loan, isn't even playing over there. He's playing in the fucking Austria or whatever. Like, how are you not playing? What's that all about? Maybe you're just not good enough. That's cool. I can deal with that. But if you're not good enough, how are you here?
Yeah, the thing is, all right. I think it, like you said, you listen. You're absolutely spot on. I just think, like you said, all right. When even if we bought a Jude Bellingham or Enzo Fernandez or Calcedo or whatever, yeah, it's not going to make any difference. I think Klopp is showing his true colours at the moment. He's showing what he doesn't have an idea, and it's starting to alarm me a little bit. Yeah, he doesn't have an idea, doesn't know how to play. And these players that are going to come in, if you don't have a system or you don't know what you're doing, yeah, these players are not going to be it for you. They're not going to be it for you. You know what I mean? These players are going to look like flops, and it's going to be it's because they're not being used well. And he has that reputation of playing players in different positions. And I see you as a striker if you was a goal, if you was a defender. That's the kind of way he's going to carry on, and it's going to carry on and on and on. But like you said, if we can bring some players in at realistic deals, 35 million deals or 20 million deals, it gives you a pool of options. With promise, without some promise, someone's that fit in the system. There is, something there. But Jurgen Klopp doesn't do that. He just doesn't like a big squad. And that is what his problem is. And that really worries me, because, we're talking about a manager who's like, some people in the chat and some of our generation, they have not seen a successful Liverpool team. And they've seen a decent Liverpool team, yeah, that I wouldn't say they're successful, because, all right, fine, we won a Premier League. Yes, that's successful. Champions League. All right, fine. But we need to keep up there. I don't like this idea about top, being second is a really successful season. For me, it's absolutely not. Liverpool, when you look at the fashion, previously, back in the days, or people of certain ages, success is based finishing first all the time, or really just, just that bit. And we just don't do that. And our manager doesn't seem like he's there for the longevity of it. He can build for 10 years' time. His lifespan is, for his team is like 3 to 4 years old, 5, and then they just rust.
You got to remember that this era is being defined by the sheer fact that Liverpool have lost more finals than they've won. They've come second more times than they've come first. Like, it's not being defined. Like, I don't know how else you can realistically define it, like, and say, as Baz said, and I agree, how can you call it successful when you're coming second all the time? And I know people would then say, oh, but it's just by 1 point. At the end of the day, that 1 point means that we are second. Like, that's the fact of it. We are second. Yeah. That couture performance that everyone keeps banging on about means that we're not winning these games. But it's not just that. People act like we came second once by 1 point. People act like we lost one final because of a performance. Guys, he's been to 4 European finals and has only walked away with one with Liverpool. He has come second, twice, or 3, or however many times now by 1 point. So this is a reoccurring thing. This isn't just a one-off. One-offs, I can deal with that. I can say, you know what? If we're a team who kind of keep languishing down in like third and stuff like that, and we're never really there, but then we had that like a 1 fantastic season or 2 fantastic seasons, and that's where we're at, I can kind of deal with that a little bit more. But we're supposed to, I thought we were a team who was going to try and compete with the Manchester Cities. Now, like, I'm even worried about competing with Newcastle, and Arsenal have somehow gone from here to just ahead of us. Like, none of that is making, and remember, this is in the space of what, like 12 months, this is in the space of a season. It's not like Arsenal are where we are right now and they're fighting for top 4, and we are where Arsenal are, we're second behind a Manchester City. Because then you can say, okay, Arsenal's still building their way, you know what I mean? Let them get there. When they get there, blah, 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 blah. Newcastle, same thing. If they were sitting 6 and you're thinking, yeah, let Newcastle kind of get there. When they get there, blah, 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 we'll deal with it then kind of thing. Cool. Guys, this is in the space of a season. 1 season, we have gone from being here to just down here. So I don't see how people have this crazy vote of confidence in Klopp, because he has never, and I mean never, had a situation where he's been so-called top dogs or one of the top dogs and then just dropped down and then had to rebuild them back up again. He couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it for whatever reason that he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And this is why I look at people when they say, like, you've got this crazy confidence in Klopp. I'm like, the evidence is stacked up. If we was in court right now, you'd probably lose the trial. You'd probably lose the trial because the evidence stacked up against Klopp and the rest of the team is way too much in comparison to what you have as your evidence to say that he can do this, that, and the other. So that's why it's just all a little bit all over the gaff, if I'm being totally honest. Like, you know, we got Brighton this week. We might win. We might win. Like, there is the possibility that we could go out and beat a Brighton. No worries. If the performance isn't good enough, it's just going to be another thing that we're going to talk about. Still play shit, but we got the win. Does that mask over anything? Is it just one of those games? We'll see in the next 2 to 3 games. You know, it's just too much, like, up in the air. Like, you can't even enjoy a win because you don't know if that win actually meant something, or if that win was just like Leicester City, we just about won, but you're not even confident in the team heading into the next few games, even though you just won 4 Premier League games on the bounce, and we still weren't confident. That must tell people something. That must tell people something, man.
I just want Liverpool just concentrate on getting 3 points. As I say, the performances that if we get 3 points, like, we go back and try and just scraping 3 to 4 wins in a row, yeah, 3 point, and then I don't care about the performances till next season. This team, Klopp just needs to get this team getting 3 points. No matter how he does it, he just needs to get this team getting 3 points, because at the end of the day, if he don't, he's not actually doing his job.
Yeah.
You know, and we can't sit here and always blame everything else around the football club and not blame the person in the middle. You know, FSG are to blame. Of course they are. No one's sitting here and not blaming FSG. Baz will blame FSG. G will blame FSG. I blame FSG. Everyone in chat blames FSG. But we can't just sit here and say everyone else is blameless, because that'd be a lie, and you're lying to yourself. You know, we can't just sit here and say Pep Lijnders and Jurgen Klopp are doing a great coaching role, coaching this season. Their tactics are spot on. They're coaching correctly. You know, that's not true. He's messed up. Pep's messed up. I don't know what's going on at his football club. I keep saying it. A few years ago, I knew everyone's position at this football club and their roles, and they kept to their roles. Klopp was the manager. He kept to the management, yeah? Coach came in. He was coaching, kept to the coaching. Michael Edwards was a sporting director, kept to transfers and contracts. John Werner was the chairman. I knew he was the chairman. John W. Henry is the outright owner. You know, Mike Gordon was the go-between between Jurgen Klopp and FSG, and lived in England, and was, you know, Klopp's go-to man when he needed to speak to the owners, and they had good chemistry, you know, good working relationship together. Everything was in sync, yeah? Everything was in sync. You know, everyone's role at the club. I don't know who's in charge of Liverpool right now.
It's collapsed.
I don't know who's in charge. I don't know who runs the football club. I don't know if Klopp has too much power. I don't know if Jurgen has too much power now and he's doing too many things.
Yeah,
like
that's
Wenger
exactly
did in the
it.
end. Wenger put his fingers in too many pies. Yeah, and then someone,
Yeah.
and then eventually someone screamed. Do you know what I mean? That's what's happening here.
It's
Pep
collapsing.
Linders, I've never seen a number 2 take cup press conferences.
Not even that, Jamie. I've just never seen
I've
a number
never
2
seen
talk so much. Like,
I don't know. I don't know anyone else's number 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's
That's
Brighton's
gotta
number
be.
2?
By
That's
name.
what it's got to be.
Everyone
You know what I mean?
Everyone knows who Liverpool's coach is. Everybody knows by name Liverpool's coach. Right?
And-
I can't tell you Man City's number 2. I don't know who it is. I
Who's to
can't tell
blame?
you Arsenal's number 2.
Who's to blame? It's the man himself. It's Jurgen Klopp. This team has listen. This club has collapsed, and there's no, the person that's in charge of it all. Okay, is Jurgen Klopp. He shouldn't be having no one do no press conferences because he is the manager. Yeah, he shouldn't be looking for. He shouldn't be trying to buy the players. Okay, it's someone else's job. Yes, he can have some input in it. Yes, this guy will be good for my team. No, this guy won't be good for my team. Very soon we'll have Jurgen Klopp doing the negotiations. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's not how it's supposed. This is not FIFA where you literally see the manager, sitting in a restaurant talking to a player and I'll offer you. That's not his job. Do your job. Coach the team. Yeah, you are there to coach. They're not what he's doing right now is not doing nothing for Liverpool. We are poor on the pitch. Even when we have our best players, against Wolves, for example, we were poor. He needs to focus on doing what he does, and you know what I mean. People like Linders is a problem.
Yeah. Look, I'll be happy, man. I'll be happy. Look, if I see Klopp changing it up a little bit, we change tactics. Or against Brighton, he goes, you know what, we're not going to do this highline. Do you know what, guys? It's Brighton. We're not in good form at the moment. We're not going to go toe-to-toe Brighton. We're going to play part of the bus football and play counter-attacking football. Yeah? I'll be like, shit. I'll be happy with that because he's changed it. He's changed his thought process. He's changed his coaching, his tactics for that game. And we get back to winning. And I'll be happy with that. That's all I want to see right now. All I want to see from the manager is just change it up a bit. Because at the moment, you're going to the same thing over and over again, hoping that it changes. And if it does, sometimes it does because we have got special talent in this team. And I think sometimes the special talent is what gets us over the line more than the coaching and the tactics they've done that day. I want Klopp to change it out. And with the Bellingham stuff, right? With the Jude Bellingham stuff, this is where I get a bit annoyed with it all, right? Jurgen Klopp knows better than anybody else on the face of this planet probably our FSG run, right? He knows how they run. So if we lose Bobby, Ox, Milner, and Keita, and we'll probably let go of some others, in the summer. Could lose up to 5 or 6 players in the summer, and we only bring in Jude Bellingham. Are we better off next season than we are this season, or are we exactly the same?
Probably worse off, to be honest.
We're worse.
Right?
We're
And
worse.
Klopp, this is what I'm trying to get at. Klopp knows the owners better than anything. So he knows if we get Jude Bellingham, but I lose all them players, he can't physically know that FSG are going to give him another 70 million on top of spending 150 million on Bellingham to get 2 more midfielders to go alongside Jude, right? So surely Klopp knows that. So if Klopp knows that in the back of his mind, scrap the Jude Bellingham thing completely. Scrap the Jude Bellingham completely, right? And get 3 to 4 midfielders that cost 1 Jude Bellingham. Because that'll make our team actually better, right? That'll make our team actually better. And also, I don't know how we want to play at the moment. We're looking at Caicedo. Amrabat is apparently now going to Atletico Madrid. So that's another way you can mark off, right? Caicedo, Chelsea have got, Todd Bowley is just he's like that geezer from Harry Enfield, loads of money, ain't he? He is just throwing money everywhere. So if Caicedo is 70 million, they're probably going to pay 70 million for him, right? So that's another one off. If that's Caicedo gone and Amrabat gone, who the fuck's left? Unless there's a player they're looking at that we have that Thuram at Nice for 30 million. If the fucker can run, go and get him, right? If he can run, 30 million is a Liverpool kind of transfer, ain't it, guys? 30 million is a Liverpool kind of transfer. Go and get it done if the geezer can run, right? If he can run, go and get it done. If Neves is there for around 30 to 40 million with a year left in his deal, go and get it done. Go and get it from Wolves. Go and get him done because he's a good player. Right, and now I'm hearing Carvalho might go back on loan to Fulham. Why did we buy him? Someone explain it. Why did we buy Carvalho? Why? Now he looks like he's go back out on loan. I don't. And now we're talking about him going back to Fulham, and we're taking it to Palena from Fulham, their DM.
Oh yeah, the Palena
as a deal. What?
Look,
why did we get him in the first place? And, hang on, Drake.
No.
And then, all these players, yeah, it's just Carvalho going off. Makes no sense. Klopp didn't. I said it. I said it when we bought him. Is this a Jurgen Klopp buy? Because we don't play over 10, right? We don't play over 10, and he's not quick enough to play on the wide areas. For Liverpool, like, especially under Jurgen Klopp, he likes very agile, athletic, quick wingers, yeah? That's what he likes. Look at everyone we got who plays in them wide areas, yeah? They're all lightning, they're all athletic, they're all got great movement, great mobility, yeah? That's what Klopp likes, yeah? So when everyone got Carvalho, and he's a number 10, but he can play on the left, I'm like, the geezer's never playing on the left. He ain't got the pace to play out there. And when he did play out there, he looked lost. So again, was Carvalho a Liverpool buy or was it a Moneyball buy? Because we desperately wanted him, by the way. We desperately wanted him because we tried to buy him last summer and it was too late. And we told Fulham, don't let him go to anyone else. Right? So when everyone says it might be a Moneyball signing, why are we so desperate to sign him? If it was a Moneyball signing, go and get someone else. You know, if the deal, run out in time. We're desperate to get him because we told Fulham, like, we're coming back for him in January. Don't let him go anywhere. Don't let him go anywhere. We desperately want him. Then you have to go to tribunal to, figure out the transfer deal for him eventually. It makes no sense. And when we bought him, we should just let him stay at Fulham for another year on loan. To have a year in the Premier League with Fulham. Just let him have a year in the Premier League with Fulham. Let him get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he'll probably play a lot more at Fulham. Get himself going. Then bring him back the year later when he's had a year's experience with Fulham in the Premier League. And Fulham ain't going down, playing good stuff. We'd have had a good year, played a lot of football. Then he comes to Liverpool, a year older, a year wiser, a year more experience, and we get a better player for it. And in that time, Klopp and his scouting team can look at him in the Premier League, see the positions he's picking up, see where he likes to play the best, and then utilise him in that formation the following year. Now, what do? We just buy him. I have no clue what to do with him. It's fucking pathetic. It's pathetic. And we're doing this too much now. We've gone and got Gakpo. I like Gakpo. I think that's a bit decent. I think people knocking Gakpo after one game is a bit harsh. Because he came into a team that's shit anyway. He's not going to like...
already?
Yeah. Done it already, man. Like Darwin Núñez. I know people diss Darwin Núñez, yeah? But I can understand why Liverpool bought Darwin Núñez. And everyone said it was because he's a goal scorer. Me and G have been speaking about this. It weren't. They went and bought Darwin Núñez because of his athleticism, his movement, and his pace, right? That is why they bought Darwin Núñez. It was them three things they saw they liked about him. His athleticism, his movement, and his pace, right? And people might not like this. Yes, he's going to be a number 9 for Liverpool eventually, but he works better when he's off the left. It's just a fact. And his goal the other day, by the way, his good finish, his goal the other day, came when he came off the left-hand side.
Exactly.
Not in the central area. He ran from the left-hand side and came in, and that's where he got his goal. Yeah? That's when he plays through the middle, he looks lost. When he plays out wide, he looks fantastic. Right? The only time I think Darwin Núñez has looked great running through the middle is when Diaz plays on the left. Because the two goals that Darwin's an instinct finisher. You can tell. When the ball comes in, he's got no time to think about it. He does finish. Right?
And that's Sterling. He reminds me of Sterling.
Yeah. When he gets the ball, when he runs at a team and he's got time and should finish, he actually fluffs his own. Say similar to Mo in a way, right?
Yeah, true.
And but so when he's got Bobby in the middle, I keep saying this, we're in 2023 and Bobby Firmino is still the fucking system. I don't care. You put Bobby in the middle, he might not have the legs he once had, but he's the link man. Since Jurgen Klopp has been at Liverpool, Bobby Firmino has been his number 9, right? We've never played with an out-and-out 9s. We had out-and-out 9s at Liverpool. He sold them all. He sold them all. Benteke, gone. You know, Balotelli, gone. Lambert, gone. Yeah, all these 9s are gone, yeah? Origi, who we all love and call a cult hero, Jurgen Klopp couldn't stand him. He never played him. He needs a proper out-and-out number 9. And when he did play him, he played him on the wings, right?
But that tells you about Klopp.
So he likes link forwards, right? He's fell in love with how Firmino plays. And when Bobby plays, them 2 games before the World Cup that we won back-to-back and looked decent, Darwin was left, Mo was right, Bobby was through the middle, and Bobby was the link man between him and the midfield because he dropped deep. And do you know what? I'm going to say this now. Mo Salah don't look as good when Bobby don't play.
Yeah,
because Bobby frees up all the space for Mo. It's just, it's just mad. Man. It's just mad. This club is. I don't know what we're going to do about it. I really don't.
I think Klopp needs to go. Sorry, no, I'm just. Listen, all right. If you think we've got problems this year, wait next year when he becomes even more arrogant because he survived the year. Do you know what? If we don't get top 4 this season, which I highly doubt, yeah. Listen, Klopp needs to go. I know it's just not a Klopp in or out thing, yeah. But look, we're messing about, man. We're messing about, and you know we can all see it. Everything we've talked about today, all right. It's not just FSG, okay? It's Klopp as well, yeah. Klopp needs to go because we're gonna get Arsene Wenger again, and the love that everyone has, okay, for Klopp. Listen, I don't want Klopp to go like that, yeah. But if it's not working for the team, yeah, Klopp needs to go. All right, just how we brought him in, we'll always bring another manager in at some point. Might not get it right the first time or something, yeah, or hopefully we do. This club is going to still be standing there whether Klopp is in or out, and we just need to look at someone that's going to give us longevity. And Klopp, I don't believe, can do that, man. In 3 years' time, he's not going to sign an extension anyway. You know what I mean? He's going to say, "I'm going to take that sabbatical, or whatever."
Baz, you know what? Baz, you know what? I do think he signs a new contract. I don't think Klopp wants to leave Liverpool. I don't think he will. But I
feel like he will see it as the reality is the only way he could sign a new contract is Liverpool would have to win the next 2 Premier League titles in order for him to warrant. Because then after that, you've got no.
If the new owners come in and say to Jurgen, right, you're our man, here's a new deal, and he knows he's going to get massive investment, I think Jurgen will want to.
He's not going to spend it.
Okay, cool. Let's even use that. Let's say the new owners come in and they give him massive investment. He's still going to be under the same premise of he'd still need to win the next 2 Premier Leagues or give or take 2 out of the next 3, because the reality is they can't just keep giving him investment after investment after investment and you're not winning. Then it will look even worse for Klopp, because you've got to realize at the moment his legacy is he's been in 7 years, he's got 1 title, 1 Champions League, so he's got 2 major trophies. So the reality is we gave you a blight because you came in, you know, you sort of like you had different players, you know, you got in better players and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah. You got the team up to this level. When you did get the team to a certain level, you were able to obviously win this, that, and the third, no problem. But if you're not able to continue that, then it just becomes a thing of how much longer can you keep telling, or can fans keep saying, yeah, but look what he's won. You cannot keep using this, because this isn't a manager who's won consistently. This is a manager who can only win within periods of time. The top managers, Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, Sir Alex Ferguson, Carlo Ancelotti, Zidane even, like these guys win at a consistent rate. They don't have periods. They don't have like a period of, yeah, I'm going to be crap for like 3 years, but then, no, there is no, because then they get sacked. They get sacked. Like, that's why they get sacked. That's why people are looking at Conte and saying, or maybe he's even looking at the situation and saying, I'm going to leave, because if you guys are not matching my ambitions, whether you think they're too high or not, it's irrelevant. These guys don't get sacked. They don't just stay for a long period of time, because if they're not doing the business now, you got to go, man. And that's the same thing that we need to start holding Klopp to that same level. We need to stop trying to go back to, oh, but remember when we had Giggs and Helix fuck Giggs and Helix? That was so long ago. It's irrelevant to the time that we have now. It's not relevant to today. Today is we judge Klopp like this. We judge you as a manager in the last 2-3 years. You won the Premier League. You won the Champions League. You are held to that level now. If you cannot maintain that level, I don't know what else you want me to do, but you then have to go. It's that simple. Like, people make out like it's a big thing. It's really not that big of a deal. Like, if he stays, as Baz said, or goes, who cares? Like, you get a new manager in. If we have to do whatever, we got to do whatever. Like, Liverpool's still going to be here. People make out like Klopp has to be the guy to do. Nah, man. Like, there's so many managers in world football who can come into this club, man. Let's not be so naive in thinking that it's only Klopp that can do this job in the whole world. Like, come on, man. That's naivety. That's very naive.
What is our excuse this season? Just someone tell me, what is our excuse this season to be this poor? Because we spent over 100 mil in terms of players. What is our excuse? Why are we playing this poor?
It is true. Like, I keep seeing on Twitter that any team would struggle with these 4 players out most of the season. I'm like, that can't be an excuse. Because
we don't have injuries like Chelsea, Chelsea are real. That's what I call an injury list. That is a real injury list. Liverpool do not have nowhere near the injury list that Chelsea has. They got like 10 players out. Are you trying to tell me that we've got 10 players out at all the same? No, we do not. We don't have our best right back out. We don't have all of these midfielders out.
Most of our first team is fit.
Exactly. Baz said it. When we played against Wolves, please tell me what player was going to come. Please tell me who we necessarily needed for a game against Wolves in the FA Cup 3rd round that we couldn't go out there and at least put in a better performance.
That game, by the way, against Wolves that was nothing on FSG. That 11,
of course,
that played.
How about the Brentford one? How about the Brentford one as well?
With 3 to 4 academy players in it at home at Anfield, should have won that game with the players we played.
Easily, man.
Let me just play this. It's hilarious. So exactly. I don't know if everyone was watching my live the other day when I my source messaged me and I had breaking news that Liverpool had 250 million to spend last season in the summer. Well, apparently now it's called wildfire, and everyone's talking about it. So yeah, so my source was right. So I'm glad about that. Don't know if it'd be the case, but now everyone's talking about it, and then this is the video for it.
I hope you'll understand that even when we make mistakes, we're trying to work in your club's best interests.
Yes, it's.
You serious? You're fired. There's the door.
Like,
oh, Jesus Christ.
The thing is, like I said, I just think as Liverpool football club,
that makes me laugh.
We've overachieved since Jurgen Klopp's kind of come in. Like, we haven't. We're one of them people. Like I said, and you can tell we've overachieved purely by the sheer fact that I felt like we won the league when I don't think we were supposed to win the league, but then we ended up winning it. So we almost got to, especially the Champions League as well. We won the Champions League when I don't think that was almost the remit to win it. So when you get to this kind of stage, we probably even moved too far ahead of what maybe even FSG thought we were going to necessarily do. So when we then get to that kind of level, maybe even FSG are looking at it thinking, all right, shit, all right, cool. Maybe, we're ahead of the curve a little bit, which is always a good thing, of course. But the sheer fact that we're ahead of the curve then means that you don't even need to spend so much actually to stay there. You don't need to, go out there and buy this, that, and everything. But also, Klopp then needs to look at it and then say, okay, I'm not saying you change up a winning team because that's stupid. You don't do things like that because I don't know many managers who do. What we're saying is you at least refresh it. You've had Naby. Jamie said it before. You've had Naby and Ox there for so long. Year after year after year, you are giving these guys time. And I'm like, but you're giving Ox time. And only thing that anyone in this chat or anybody can tell me about Oxlade-Chamberlain is his fucking form before he got injured in 2017. 18.
He's not even signing every season.
Get out of here, man. Like if that's what you're talking about in 2023, and people are telling me about Ox back in 17 against Roma and City, like no top club that I know would even blink at a player like that. They'll be like, mate, you are gone. And you are gone quicker than anybody. Naby Keita, year after year, this guy has just been injury prone, but you still kept him. And I didn't understand why. And then you get to the case of now you need to start looking at like, not even the medical department, because they ain't got one. It's just more looking at your training and stuff like that, because now new players are coming in and they're all injured. Kanate comes in, little niggles. Thiago, little niggles. Jota, niggles. Like so many new players, basically everyone who's come in is just getting niggles on top of all the other players who have obviously been there. They're getting injured. So I'm just like, guys, like surely someone can at least sit here and see like, okay, something is going wrong with, like, Baz, you said it. And that's why I did the video about, you know, Klopp and Wenger, because I said, you are literally watching history repeat itself, but it's now coming in more of a form where Arsenal were at least at a stage where N said it last night on the show, bro, they had 3 titles by this point. So they were at least sitting in a position where they had 3 Premier League titles under Arsene Wenger's name. We're sitting here with 1, and we're talking like we've got 3. That's the bit that confuses me. I'm like, damn, we really must have been a shit club, like really shit. If your standards are, we got 1 and you're desperate to keep this guy. No way, I'm not desperate to keep him. Like, you can go with the rest of them. Like, I look at you now like how I look at any other manager. You're just another good manager, just like Mourinho was. But you got to go, man. You got to go because you're not doing the remit that I set out.
Yeah, let me just read out Dean's super chat. Big up, Dean. There are rumours that who can pronounce that name? G.
Milowski.
Baz.
Milowski.
Okay. Milowski. That's it. I can never pronounce it properly. I want you to do it justice.
I want my tenor.
Wanted more game time after the signing a pro contract, and Klopp didn't like that. That's why he's nowhere to be seen. Yeah, it's been really.
Is he still here?
Yeah, he's still here. He just doesn't.
He went on. I think he went out on loan, but came back, didn't he?
I forgot, man.
I don't know what's going on there. Big up Kev as well in the house. How you doing, Kev? Hope you're doing well, my friend. We've been a window behind since we won the Champions League. It wasn't major surgery that was needed until now. Now the midfield needs serious money. Big up, Kev.
Do you know, honestly, you see that's another thing as always. You know what? Back in the days, yeah. I mean, I don't know how old some of these guys are. I mean, there's going to be people older than me, people around my age or younger, whatever. This club was a great club because we used to win consistently. Second is never success. Every season when we were top dogs, we'd get one signing, at least one world-class or decent signing every year. You improve in your squad every year. We haven't done that for many years, all right? And especially in midfield. What for 4 years, 5 years, we haven't brought a proper midfield in. And this is where we're complaining right now. This is the problem. And this is everything that we've said, all right, has just turned again to Jurgen Klopp. I mean, look, people might say, I'm a anti-Jurgen Klopp. I don't want Jurgen Klopp at my club. You know what? I'll just say it right now. Yeah, I don't want him at my club. And it's not because that I'm great, that I'm not grateful. You know, if people want Klopp in, all right, you base the manager on success. Yeah. He's won 1 Premier League title in these years that he's been with us. All right, he's won Champions League and stuff like that. But like G said earlier on, coming second in the final, losing it, no one remembers that. They remember who won it. And that's Jurgen Klopp. So people really deep it, yeah? This is not about if Jurgen Klopp is winning and we're close every season or we're up there and stuff like that. Yeah, fine. But right now, if people don't see what's really going on in this club right now, and he's as much to blame as the owners, yeah, there's a problem, because we're going to be having a lot more streams like this every year, every week, until eventually the ones that do believe eventually will be like, you know what, yeah, Klopp needs to go now. When they back him, all right, when he's actually doing right for the team at this moment. Right now, he's not. He spent 100 million or whoever, okay? You could have got midfielders in for that. You know, you bought a striker stroke left wing or whatever the hell Nunez is, yeah? You could have bought a Moussa Diaby that could play both flanks. You could have got some, if you replace someone like, you've lost a Diaz or you've lost, a Sadio Mane before that, yeah? Someone's going to get back in. Go buy a player on the left that's going to actually, you know, defend. You know, it's just a lot. It's just a lot, and if people don't see it, then.
Baz, you just mentioned something there, and I just see someone mention something like in the chat about Klopp like transformed, but like I don't understand why that even matters. Like let's look at this year. Jose Mourinho came in and transformed Chelsea. Obviously, with Roman Abramovich coming in, he made them one of the probably most feared teams in England, alongside Manchester United, and even Manchester United were struggling to keep up, you know, with Chelsea and stuff like that. What then happened? They ended up getting rid of the guy who won their first title, I think, was it 50 years in that space of time. What happened after that period of time? They won another title with Antonio Conte. They won another title with, I believe it was, I'm going to say, was Carlo Ancelotti there? If it wasn't Ancelotti, was it, there was someone else who won a title with Chelsea after the Jose Mourinho period. You will have another successful period of time. Let's stop acting like the one guy who transformed the club. And again, this whole word grateful, that's why, Baz, when you said it, I was just like, that even just irks me, because it's just like, you shouldn't have to feel that you're being ungrateful because you're asking for a manager to leave because he transformed your club. That should never, ever even come in. Di Matteo won the Champions League. Thank you, Scraps. But it's like, I'm not looking at Klopp and thinking, yeah, but you know what? He's done so much for me. You know, I just can't leave him. What do you mean you can't leave him? What do you mean he can't go? Because if he continues this way, you're going to sit there until 2026 and it's just going to be like, yeah, well, I mean, he only won one Premier League title, but he did win that one Premier League. No, you need to understand that time moves on. Klopp is getting older. Football is bypassing this guy consistently, year in, year out. Alisson mentioned it at the beginning of the season. Forget Pep Yender's book. What did Alisson say in an interview? I think it was with Liverpool. We're becoming predictable. Teams are starting to know how to play against us. Alisson, your goalkeeper, your number one. Virgil van Dijk has come out repeatedly to mention about signing new players. Virgil even mentioned about he doesn't even see what the issue is with signing a player over like where it's going to be in a position of Carvalho or Elliott. He doesn't think that it's going to hinder their development. But fans seem to just be so glued into Klopp, and at that time, that's what fans were thinking. Yeah, maybe you don't want to do this. No, that's not how you develop. That's not how you get any better. Because now we're sitting here and we're all cussing Elliott, we're all cussing Carvalho. We want the guy to go out on loan. We don't know what Jones is going to do with his life and career. Like we're doing all of these things now because it's really in the shits. But these are all things that were happening. When things are not really going well, that is when I judge you as a manager. Klopp might finish top 4 this season. We don't know. So I'm not going to act like he can't make top 4 because we can easily still get the top 4. But what I'm saying is these problems, when they do persist in this team, the season that we came third, and obviously this season, so 2 seasons in the last 4 seasons, where it's kind of gone to shits a little bit, where injuries and stuff like that, that's where I'm judging you. That is where I'm actually judging you. I can obviously judge you when you're doing well and stuff like that, of course. And I thought Jurgen Klopp, he's doing well. He's he's getting the most out of the team. I never really felt he was improving the team. I just felt like he was getting the most out of his players. They were playing at their optimum level. We were one of the better teams out there. Now I'm judging. As soon as we won that Premier League, I said, now is the time I'm going to really judge you. What are you doing now to make sure we stay here? What do we do after that? Look at the signings that we've done since then. Look at the players that we brought in since then. Nothing has actually improved. We haven't improved as a team. We've gotten worse. Everyone can see that now. So I don't understand this kind of thing. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not saying Klopp out today, like kind of thing, even though there are available managers now. But I'm not saying maybe he needs to go today. But I'm definitely saying that I do not see a succession plan with him at all in charge. So what do you want to do? Do you want to just stick with him because of that 19-20 season he brought you a Premier League? Fair enough. If that's what people want to do, again, everyone can have their opinion. I'm not saying you can't. It's just the evidence. As I said, if we was in a court of law, your evidence is so stacked up against him that what are you actually telling people? You're using emotion over actual logic, and the logic is and the emotion is killing us right now. It is killing. Jamie, you mentioned it the other day about being sentimental. Maybe as fans we are too sentimental, but we get onto Klopp for being too sentimental. Maybe as fans we're too sentimental as well, because we don't seem to be able to just let it go. We can't let it go at all, and it's almost blasphemy if you mention, oh, Klopp out. It's like, No, because there's been way better managers than Klopp in previous years, and they've all left their club. So why is Klopp any different? I don't get it.
We spent 100 million this season again, okay? And people, I'm seeing some of the comments, and big up to you guys. Listen, it's all about opinions, and I respect yours. But
Yeah,
one
of
of
course.
them is saying, one of them is saying, like, we're comparing Klopp with managers who have had crazy checkbooks. But that's my point. At the end of the day, right? He can do it without the checkbook. He's proven.
No, Baz. But no, Baz. Let's even, and that's something I'm gonna get into later. Just sorry to cut you like that. Let's actually look at that though, because we say this, and there was something I was reading last night, and I had to do a bit of research behind it. Klopp is one of those managers, like all the other elite managers. He requires a hefty amount of money in order for him to be able to do what he can do. The problem that we keep looking at is that because it's offset with players like selling Coutinho and selling other players, obviously the net spend is obviously going to make it look like, yes, of course, Liverpool are not spending as much as these guys. If he didn't spend 75 million on a new centre-back, we wouldn't be here. If he didn't spend 50, 60 million on a new goalkeeper, we wouldn't be here. If he didn't spend 50 million on Naby Keita, we wouldn't be here. If he didn't spend all of this money that we say that he doesn't need to spend, we wouldn't be here. So Klopp is like every other top manager, Pep Guardiola, Zidane's, Carlo Ancelotti's, Antonio Conte's, Jose Mourinho. He requires money. Klopp cannot do it on a budget that's like, oh, I can just pick up players for peanuts. When I looked at the thing before I came on the show, and I looked at if you looked at how much Mo Salah cost, and if you looked at it in today's money, it's what you would pay for someone of that quality. People say, yeah, it was a great deal. And it was a good deal. I'm not saying it wasn't. 40 million we signed him for 30, 35 million. That's 40, 45 million in today's money. Now, in today's money, if you spend 45 million on a winger who has not done it at the top level and is just in form like Gakpo, would you be happy? You'd be sitting there thinking, I don't really know. We just spent 65 on Núñez. We just spent 37 on Gakpo. We need to start looking at the relative context to time. Is Klopp really that guy who can go out and sign £10 million players like a Brighton? No, he cannot do that. Klopp could never do that. That's not what Klopp's remit is, because Brighton are obviously a team who cannot go out and spend 75 million and 50 million on two different players and however much we bought Fabinho for. But we keep trying to make it out like this guy bought the entire team for chicken change and peanuts. No, he didn't. He bought a lot of these players for quite a bit of money relative to the time that we bought them in. So that's something that I was looking at last night, and I said, nah, I'm not even buying into that whole, yeah, he can do it on, small budgets. No. He's had to spend a lot of money to make sure that this team is as good as it is today. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
You guys spoke really well. Look, guys, in the chat, everyone on the panel is entitled to their opinions about Klopp, FSG, the club, anything like that. I just ask everyone to respect everyone's opinions, and no one's right or wrong in football. Football's a weird thing, There's a lot of right and wrong is very hard to put into football. Like, G could be right, I could be right, I could be right. G could. No one really knows what the future holds for this football club. But look, Baz and G have had their say. My say on it is like I'm still Klopp for the football club right now, because I just don't see who you get in this football club right now under the guides of FSG. Now,
And I hear it.
You've got to basically get in a man who knows that finances are not going to be widely available all the time. So for managers like that, you're looking at someone like a Pochettino, and I am not swapping Klopp for Poch. I'm just not. I'm just not. That's my point of view anyway. So, yeah, I'm still Klopping at this moment in time. What I want Klopp to do, though, is do better. I just need him and his coaching staff to do better than they're doing this season, because I do believe the players we have available to us right now, I do still think this team should be doing better than 6th and 7th in the Premier League with 5 Premier League defeats this season. I think he can change it up a little bit, and we can do better with the players we have available to us right now. I mean, you put Virgil and Konate in a deeper position on the pitch, making them not running back 20 yards every single game. You probably get a better defensive display out of them too. You can't tell me you can put Matip and Konate right now in a back 4 and make sure they're compact, drop back a little bit, hard to defend against. They can't. they can't be two better defenders out in the Premier League than them two in them positions. So you can get these players playing in a little better way than they're playing now, in my opinion. So, yeah, so me, I just want to see Klopp change a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to have talks about Jurgen. And why shouldn't we? No one's indestructible. No one's there to not be, you know, everyone has their peaks, you know. It's like a relationship, you know. You might be really in love with the person you're with, but for some reason you just can't be with each other. You know, you just can't be with each other.
I've been there.
But you love the person a bit, but you just can't be with each other. So instead of staying and making the relationship between you worse and worse and worse, you do the right thing and you just leave each other, you know, to go and pastures new. So look, guys, I'm going to leave it there. What I want everyone to do right now, I want everyone going to smash the like button, guys. Got 142 people in the house, and we've only got 92 likes. So,
come on, guys, smash those likes.
Come on, run up the likes, guys.
Before we go, I want to ask you both a question. I put it up on my Twitter yesterday. FSG stay and Klopp stays, or FSG goes and you get a new manager. Who will provide investment?
Jesus. Wow.
That's your only two options. I'm not going to make it easy and say, oh, maybe FSG. No. FSG stays, Klopp stays with the same level of investment that they're going to provide, or FSG go, we get a new manager and the new investors are going to invest.
Oh, that's a naughty question.
The last one.
That's a naughty question.
The last one.
Man. I'll tell you what, I'm live at 6 p.m. I'll give you my answer then. I'm going to think about
it. Definitely the latter.
I'm going to think about it. I'm going to
smash the likes,
guys. Smash the likes.
Well done, guys. Well done. Big up, everyone. Smash them.
And big up everyone in the chat as well. It's just, you know, it's just opinions in it at the end of the day. We all love Liverpool Football Club. You know what I mean? We just want to be successful. So, yeah, man. Big up.
I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it. Give my political answer at 6 p.m.
Come on, you know it's the latter.
He knows it's the latter, but it's fine. I'll let him.
Right, guys. I'll be back at 6 p.m. today with the preview for Liverpool Brighton. We're going to pick the team, going to pick the tactics. And what we're going to do, we're going to go with our tactics and formation, and then we're going to go and compare it to Klopp's tactics and formation and what would win against Brighton. Going to change it up a little bit. So we're going to do the Klopp tactics and the Klopp formation, the players we think he'll pick against Brighton. And then we're going to pick our one, our team, our tactics, and our players we're going to play against Brighton and try and decide who we think would be the better team to win that game, guys. So make sure you join us at 6 p.m. tonight, guys. Guys, when this video ends, you'll be taken straight to that video at 6 p.m. Please leave a like on that video straight away before we start the video. I'd appreciate it. So till 6 p.m, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you in a few hours.